No, because the stream just went live.
Oh.
Yes.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
Alone's in a daze.
Or is she frozen too now?
She's either frozen or
there
very
she is.
slow.
I'm frozen. It's still trying to think. Yay, we're live. Yay, everybody out there in YouTube land. So again, a little bit of technical difficulties. My computer was a little slow on the uptake there for a moment. But I'm here, and I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and thank you for joining us today. And today I am joined by Rob and Sarah over at Curmudgeon Inn and Adam and Phyllis over at Alaska Cut the Cord. So I'm going to pass it over to Rob and Sarah and let them have a moment here, and we'll go around Robin here pretty much. But before I pass it over, I do want to say one thing because I just saw this. I want to say thank you to a new member on the channel. So thank you, Karen Forrester, for becoming a channel member. Greatly appreciated. And also Joseph Werner, thank you for renewing your membership. I appreciate that as well. All right, over to Rob and Sarah.
Hey guys.
Hi.
It's on the spot. Just kidding. It's great to see you all in here. I know that a lot of you have family around and a lot of you do not have family around. And that's the point of doing this show today, to give everybody a chance to hang out with somebody during the holidays. It's not easy if you're alone. A lot of us know that feeling of being alone on a holiday, and none of us like it. So we want to make sure you all have the same way. Right. And I did see a question pop up in my chat real quick. Let's see if I can see where it went here. He's asking about Mary and her hubby. Dixie, are you talking about the Lovels? I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. If you're talking about Mary and Clyde Lovell, that was the Railroad Alaska show.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
No,
Next.
Yes.
Hey, Adam, Phyllis, it's on you now.
Yeah.
We're here.
We're
I
here.
think.
Sorry about that. Minor technical difficulty.
Yeah.
No, welcome everybody that's here. This is kind of I don't know, after we did it last year, it was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. And we did it. And at the end of the Thanksgiving Live, we asked people who would want us to do a Christmas Live. And it was overwhelming, and it was kind of moving, the number of people that actually wanted to see us on their holiday, and that may not be sitting there with family like we are today. So want to welcome everybody, and it is an honor to be here.
I agree. It's nice to have everybody here with us today. And we are going to go through the chat and answer questions as they come about. But also, we have some topics, too, that we're going to weave into the conversation. But we did get a question from Scott Balcom. Thank you for being here with us today, Scott, who says he's interested in knowing how we're able to stream all three channels at the same time. So we are using StreamYard on a paid application. So I'm paying for the service, and because of that, it allows me to have other channels join in with me on the live stream, and that's how we're able to do that today. So,
Terry Ramsey, yes, we are all in Alaska.
Yes, all of us. And oddly enough, we all three moved here within a couple of months of each other without knowing each other. It was not planned.
I think it was actually all within. What month did you get here, alone?
I got up here August 26th of 2021.
We got here just August 10th. And when did you guys get here?
June 21st.
So all within a month.
Yeah.
Actually, well, almost a month. Alone was a little late.
Yeah, a couple months. Yeah. So when you first, this is a question to Rob and Sarah and Adam and Phyllis. When you guys first were planning on moving up here, what were the things that you were most concerned about prior to moving to Alaska?
Let you guys go first.
Yeah.
Okay. For us, we did not have a final landing place immediately or jobs lined up, anything like that. So we had just a vicinity. We liked the Willow area, and we just got here and made our way from there. Phyllis had a job within a couple of weeks. We found where we're currently living. We may have made a mistake on that one. as it's in a flood zone. So that's caused some heartache, but we've got a solution to that coming forthright. So yeah. I mean, it was, I don't know, not exactly as expected, but it worked out. Rob and Sarah.
We had a place.
We had
Ready
it in
to
mind.
close.
Yeah, we had it all
Yeah.
ready to close. We just had to wait for closing. But our big thing getting here with our limited transportation mode to get here
Mhm.
was getting everything here in time before winter set in.
Yes.
And when we started doing it, we had issues. That was during the COVID train system, which basically right now during the summertime, for those that don't know, the hurricane turn goes north and south in the summertime daily out of
Mhm.
Talkeetna. During the COVID time, it would go out of Anchorage, from Anchorage to Hurricane and back once. And then what they did is then they changed it where it would go from Anchorage to Fairbanks daily, and we had to ride that train. So there was no round trip. So when we were moving up here, we were told the last northbound train would be on X date. So we get down there to go home, and come to find out the train was going south for the last time that day. And the gentleman at the train depot, he was like, "I'm so sorry. This is my mistake. I told you the wrong dates."
He was
So-
practically in tears.
So that was
Nice man.
our biggest issue of getting up here, was making sure we got everything here, including food and us.
Mhm.
How about you, Alon?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was twofold. One was also getting here before the snow, and that's because I came up via the Alaska Marine Highway System, so on the ferry. I did that for two reasons. One is because of my dog. Even though when you have a dog on the ferry, you don't get to spend a whole lot of time with your dog. Your dog is required to stay in the vehicle. You get 4 times a day where you can go down and relieve your dog. And it's a communal thing, so they have to be around other dogs. And if you watch my channel, you might have heard me say that my dog Kenai is not dog friendly. So that was kind of an issue. But also, I caught one of the very last ferries up here before winter set in. During the wintertime, the ferries do not cross the Gulf of Alaska because the waters are just too rough. And I was very concerned that when the closing on my house in Colorado, and when that ferry were going to happen, or when the ferry was going to happen, that they would align. And luckily for me, they did. But then once I got up here, my next concern was finding somebody to replace the roof on my cabin because of where I live. I live in the Copper River Basin. So I'm about, I don't know, a couple 100 miles in some away from the Matsu Valley. And where Adam and Phyllis are in Willow, and then Rob and Sarah are in Chase, which is north of Talkeetna. So for me, it was harder to find someone out in this area to do the work I needed to have done on my cabin, but I did eventually find somebody. So, but going back to that same topic is, once you got here, how did it differ from what you expected it to be?
Go back to so for us anyway, as far as how it differed from what we expected, I thought it would be easier to get a job making what I was making, which even where I'm at, and I'm not doing too badly, but it's not making what I thought I would be making. And the amount of snow, I was absolutely astounded by. Because I had talked to somebody in town and they said, well, most people rent a D3 in the middle of the winter to move snow. And I thought he was messing with me. There's no way anybody rents a dozer to move snow. That is made up. And you're messing with me because I'm from Wisconsin. That year we got like 20 feet. And wow, that was a struggle. And there was no firewood on site. There wasn't even a wood stove. So we ended up, our firewood was incredibly green. I had to put in a stove. I did the stovepipe completely wrong. And we definitely had some issues. And it was 20 below for like 3 weeks in a row. So we had a struggle. There was no water on site, no heat on site. So that first winter was a tough one. We were definitely being tested. But other than that, It's tough up here. I would say it's more about who you know than what you know, because that gives you access to a lot of the things that we do, like going on the bear hunt. If I hadn't met those people, there's no way I would go, because it was a $25,000 hunt and they took me out there for free. So meeting people up here, especially through like this venue, YouTube, opens up a whole new world to you to make things easier for when you finally move here.
Mhm.
That's my opinion. Phyllis, anything different?
Not really.
Okay.
No, it's
Mhm.
all you know.
Rob and Sarah?
I think when we got here, we both being New England or Northeasterners, we were expecting the snow.
It was not a surprise.
We
And it
were
was deep that year.
and we were honestly, we were expecting it to be a lot colder than it was.
Yes.
Now, this, like we were saying behind stage, this week, all the way up into mid-December of our first year here, we had sub 20-degree temperatures for like Adam said, 3 weeks straight.
Mhm.
And we were ready for it, but at the same time, we were like, well, what do we do? I can't sit in the house.
No.
So I guess part of our thing that we expected was to be able to do more outside, but that first year was an exception, because since then we've been able to do a lot outside.
Right.
As for the living situation and getting here, we weren't expecting it to be such a pain to get things here on the train, because we've had issues where it would take weeks to get stuff.
Yeah. Mhm.
Other than that, it was kind of as we expected it to be.
It was about what I expected.
Oh, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, it was pretty much what I expected, but that's because I had been planning this for decades. Daydreaming for probably 10 years, and then the next 10 years was really sitting down and really planning and figuring out everything that I was going to need to know and need to do. And then I guess the one thing that probably was like that first winter, as you mentioned, having to put in the wood stove and having green wood. For me, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park either. The first winter here did have a lot of snow, not 20 feet by any means, but we did have a lot of snow. At one point, there was so much snow that fell overnight that it actually snuffed out the chimney. It barricaded the chimney and snuffed out the fire, I should say. And
Wow.
so that was an issue. Luckily the fire was low in the night because I never get up to stoke it. So it wasn't too much of a big deal. But I had to get up on the roof and shovel the roof off several times throughout the winter and clean the chimney, unbarricade the chimney at that one point and what have you. But having a roof that was about to collapse and climbing up on it was a big issue for me. So I would say with the cold temps, that first winter that I was here, from the beginning of November to the beginning of March, there were only about 4 or 5 days that were above 0 degrees. Other than that, our average temperatures were between -20 and -30 every single day, with the exception of January, where we had -45 to -60 degrees overnight temperature. So, it was quite a bit. But we had a question from Sandollar, who was asking if we are all retired. I myself, I guess I could say I'm retired, other than I do YouTube. YouTube is my full-time job. But how about you, Rob and Sarah?
I'm retired.
Now, I'm also retired, but not retired because, well,
Yeah.
I live here, and YouTube keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah. His full-time job is keeping this place running smoothly, which he really does. And the YouTube. So we just
Just do
and
it.
I knew what to expect, because upstate New York has snow up to the second story of some buildings every now and then. Schools get closed and all of that stuff. So winter was not a big surprise to me. And yes, I was concerned when I saw Rob on the roof the first time, but then I thought, well, my dad used to go up on the flat roof of our house. It's a couple of 100 years or 100 years old. And It was just the way things were done. You had to take a shovel.
Yeah, as far as we go, we are absolutely not retired. I'll probably work until I'm 98 or so. In addition to that, there's what we do here. Currently, well, I don't want to say much, but things are going to change a little bit in that realm going forward, where I get a little bit more time off to do a lot of the things I need to do, plus what I want to do, because I didn't move to Alaska to work 60, 70 hours a week. And Phyllis works at the local thrift store, and which has unbelievable benefits to us because we get a lot of the stuff that we need right from there.
And I can do laundry.
All right, which helps because we do not have running water on site. And then we have a question from Carrie Ramsey. What was each of your guys' motivation to move to Alaska? Alone?
Mine was to fulfill a lifelong dream, which was to live in the mountains and to live away from society, and to live in a dry cabin. Living in a dry cabin was becoming harder and harder to do in the lower 48 as more and more places adopted the International Building Code, which meant that you had to have a water closet, you had to have a septic system. You couldn't get away from indoor plumbing. And I, for various reasons, do not like indoor plumbing. I know people think that that's odd, but I make it work. But after that, it was because my kids had already grown and they had moved out and they were starting their own lives. They're very independent, very successful in their own ways in life. And I was alone living in a house that I didn't really want to be living in an area where I didn't really, it wasn't enjoyable. In other words, it was just a box that housed all my things, but I was going out every single weekend to go fishing and hunting and camping. And I decided one day that I was heading the wrong direction when I was heading home, and decided I needed to be heading to the mountains. And so that's when I really began to search for property in Alaska. And within that moment of thinking, okay, I'm heading the wrong direction, from that moment, it took me 45 days to make the move up here, to list my house, sell my house, find this place, and book the ferry and get up here. So my motivation was multifaceted, but really it was just a lifelong dream to be remote and in a dry cabin. How about you, Adam and Phyllis?
Well, our motivation, I guess, we had done pretty much everything we could do in Wisconsin, and I like to hunt and fish. And to be honest with you, I got kind of tired of just hunting deer. So getting a chance to move up here, it was something I wanted to do since I was in the military. And we finally had the opportunity and we jumped on it. But we had planned it and we had taken 3 trips up here prior to actually moving here. So it wasn't like something we did spur of the moment. It was pretty well planned, even though once you get here, the most solid plans can fall apart in about 2 seconds once you actually get there, which, we kind of had some of that, but so far it's been amazing. This year alone, we got to do a caribou hunt, a moose hunt, maybe a little bit of bear hunting, not that much, but we are working on that. Rob and Sarah?
Well, the big motivation for us was, number one, I've been trying to get here since I was 18 years old, but I kept having heat strokes down in Florida, and we started looking for seasonal property, and then we found this place and we just fell in love with it and said, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it took. I mean, she twisted my arm really bad, told me, you move there, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah. I was homesick for upstate New York kind of things. Grew up on a farm, and Florida just didn't suit me the way I thought it was going to when we moved there. And so this was like coming home to me. It was good. Why did you choose such isolation?
Why? Well, I'll start it off. I mean, I like the isolation. I like the quiet. I'm very, very comfortable being alone. and not being missed alone, but being alone and apart from other people. In fact, so much that we recently purchased a property that is far more off grid, and there's nothing there at all. And I can get there by train or by boat or sometimes snow machine. So I love the isolation. It was weird, as isolated as we are. When we went on the caribou hunt, we were up by the North Slope, Prudhoe Bay, Dead Horse. It was so quiet up there that after being up there for a week, we came back and this felt like we were in downtown Minneapolis. It was kind of overwhelming for about 24 hours. So the quieter and the more remote I can get, the better.
Yeah.
And it's important, I would say one of the most important things, that if you happen to be a couple and you are doing this, you both better share the exact same dream. Otherwise, you won't be a couple for long. Or you'll be a couple in another state soon.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's how it always works out. You either share the exact same dream or you go home.
Yep.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, that was
alone?
part of it for me, was that I was in a relationship before coming up here. And I thought that my boyfriend at the time and I were on the same page and that we were both planning to move to Alaska together. That didn't happen. He wound up staying in Colorado. We wound up separating and I came up here by myself, and the rest is history. You know, so now in retrospect, it's probably better that he didn't come up here, because I don't think he was able or willing to live the way that I live. You know, he was used to the creature comforts of life, right? The conveniences, and that's not the way that I live. So in retrospect, it's probably better that he didn't move up here, but you know, maybe someday someone else will come along. Who knows?
Yep.
Rob and Sarah?
Well, as for us, the isolation kind of found us. We would have been okay in town, but we actually like this a heck of a lot better than being in town. It's the peacefulness, the quietness. I mean, we've only heard road traffic once, and that's when Ashley was here last March, when we heard the 18-wheeler Jake brake from miles away, echoing across the mountains.
Yep.
Other than that,
Nothing.
train noise, and that's it. And it's so peaceful here, you can hear the snow falling.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
I will add one thing. Ed over at Mountain Mariner recently commented that we're all secretly on the run from the law, and that is not true.
He is.
He may be, but we are.
You saw the parking ticket comment, right? That's it.
Yes, I thought that.
Am I that loud, Ed? Ed says I got my mic set to 11.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty loud, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So we got another question, which is, what is remote people using for cell phones and internet? So mine is local to the Copper River Basin, and it's Copper Valley Telecom. That's what I wind up using. But it's kind of funny because, you know, they're right in Glen Allen, so about an hour or so from where I live. And yet I have horrible coverage. I'm still on DSL. Well, I was on DSL. Now I have Starlink. But the cell phone coverage, I have hardly any coverage whatsoever on the two major highways near me. So the Richardson Highway, which runs up to Fairbanks and all the way down to Valdez, and then the Glen Highway that runs from Glen Allen to Anchorage. For a vast majority of those two highways, I have no cell coverage whatsoever. So that's what I'm using. And yeah, it's pretty archaic. How about you guys?
As far as cell phones go,
Why fell on my head?
Uh-oh.
Dog.
man down.
Go ahead.
Okay, as far as us, we are still on our Verizon plan that we brought up here from Wisconsin. However, I will say the AT&T is has far better coverage in Alaska than Verizon does, which was not the truth back home.
In spots.
In spots, yeah. The other thing that most people carry up here, if you go into the way outs, is you have an InReach, or you have like a Garmin 750i that is all satellite based, and that way you can, if you do get attacked by a bear and you're still live, you can send a message that way. And all three of us have Starlink,
Yep.
which helps us a great deal.
Yeah. Now I do also have that Garmin InReach, and I have the InReach Mini, so it allows me to have satellite tracking and also send out pre-dictated messages, or I can send out a text message and give someone my exact location, what have you, in those areas where I don't have signal. So if you're going to move to Alaska, that is something that I recommend you have. Or if you're going to do any backcountry travel whatsoever, that's a good option.
Yeah.
Yep. And like Alon said, we all pretty much use Starlink up here. We use AT&T, but where we're at, we have to have a cell phone booster to get signal here. So we use WeBoost, and it does work. I hear people saying, "Oh, it don't work, but it does." And I've seen somebody come across, I think no other girl said something about ham radio licensing. I actually just got my book that one of our subscribers sent up to me. It's a recent book, so I can study to get my ham license.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
Yep.
Sandollar J says, "Did any of you live somewhere other than the United States?" Not for any length of time. We haven't. I mean, I was in the Navy, so I'm fairly well traveled. But I wouldn't say that, other than being alive there, I didn't live there. Rob and Sarah?
That's right.
Oh, well, in this long ago, I lived in Germany for a year and then some. And we spent, my husband, who has since passed, and I spent one summer in a Volkswagen bus and a tent and just toured Europe. And that was home. We had a 18-month-old child at the time. It was a real adventure. Other than that, I haven't lived outside the country, but I've been all over this country.
Yeah, and I've lived, I didn't live in Mexico, but I spent a lot of time down in Mexico when I was studying for archaeology and anthropology. And I also did live in Canada a few times. I worked on a friend's horse ranch and Fort Erie in Stevensville area. And I was in Winterpeg for a little while.
I have only lived in the United States, unless you count one long stint in Canada that was just travel. Really, it was just a long extended vacation in Canada. But other than that, no, I've only lived in the United States and only lived in Colorado prior to moving to Alaska.
Yep. And no, plaid is not a requirement to be in this case. If so, Alone wouldn't be able to be here.
Right.
No, I got checked on.
Not today. Probably the first thing not plaid.
Yeah, I do love plaid. That's for sure. Plaid's great at hiding spills and stains and a little bit of dirt, which you're bound to get on you when you live in Alaska. In fact, I'm pretty sure if you look at my hands close enough, I probably have, I have some paint still on me from construction. So
Nice.
Just think we're part of the Red Green Show.
that's right. I would
Women
love
don't
to
need
be as
handy.
funny as Red Green. I don't think I'm anywhere close.
So, nice. Oh, let's see. What do we got?
So Nancy Joe is asking, how is it that we can afford to live in Alaska?
That's a good question, because I will forewarn everybody that it is more expensive to live here, no matter how you look at it. Yes, we supplement a lot of groceries by either growing our own or catching, $5,000 worth of fish for free and all of that. But yeah, it was quite the trip. But everything is more expensive. So, but at the same time, if you look at all of us, well, except for Alone, we do not have an electric bill. We don't have a water bill. We don't have a sewer bill. I don't have a car payment. There's a lot of stuff like that. If you move up here with a lot of debt and don't already have a good job, that would not be a good choice.
No.
And the other thing that we found that helps a ton as far as food wise is using the Costco Business Center.
Yes.
That is absolutely worth it. How much money we save on groceries, and we bulk buy, and a lot of dry stores and stuff, and that's what we do.
Yep. I mean, same here. I mean, when Sarah and I went to come here, we sold everything we own. Sarah sold a house, her car. I sold my 2 work vehicles, my business trailer, my sailboats, my fishing boats. We just sold everything. I mean, so we created a little nest egg for once we got here, just like a lot of people do.
And we had looked all over the country for, like he said, seasonal property, but the taxes in most of those places were exorbitant.
Yeah.
And here the taxes are very doable, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah. So, I mean, our bills is like Adam and Phil said, we have no payments on a house, no payments on a
No.
vehicle. We have insurance, cell phones, internet, food, and fuel. So we got five bills we got to have on a regular basis, and they don't all come at once.
Right.
All right, I froze. Sorry about that, folks. Look at the puppy in the background.
Hey, Sid.
Hello, everybody.
Aww.
Scoop's just chilling.
Is that the Pomsky?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
That's a big pumpkin.
sweetie.
Yeah, he's a handful.
What?
Yeah. Fireman Ox One Knox, I guess I'm saying that right, maybe, is asking, may I ask how much land do you live on? We have about 3 acres here, and the land we just purchased is 4 1/4. Alone?
And we have
Or-
I have 15 million and 5 acres. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Perfect.
So I only have 5 acres, but I do back up to a national park and preserve. And so most of that is uninhibited land. So nobody can ever build behind me or even anywhere around me. So I have the run of the land, so to speak.
And we have just over 4 acres here, and we only have 1 property touching us. Other than that, we're surrounded by state land.
Nice. And
Clint-
Clint, sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Clint Gilchrist, question. How much snow does everyone have?
I have about 2 feet on the ground still. Even though
Really?
it's snowing every day, just a little bit, it's melting just as quickly or compacting just as quickly as it's falling. So I really don't have that much snow. It's been a very light winter here so far.
Yeah, we've only got about 9 inches on the ground, maybe 10.
Where are we at?
We're at about 16 inches right now. We've probably gotten a solid 2.5 feet this year, but like Alone says, it keeps settling and settling, pretty quickly, honestly. And when it's super cold like it is today, it's also evaporating into the air. So, yeah, but it's absolutely beautiful outside. If I could show you right now, all the trees are covered with thick frost, and it is gorgeous outside.
What's your temperature currently?
12 degrees.
We're at
Minus?
12.
Negative. Well, that's negative 12 degrees. I'm sorry. Negative.
Oh, sorry. We're plus 12.
Yeah, it is a huge difference between us 3 with the different regions of Alaska we live in.
Oh,
And mine
that's a lot.
says -1, but feels like 2 degrees above.
No,
So
It's
this year has been a lot more mild than it has been in years past, for sure.
Yeah.
okay.
So Madhu Nanda is in Fairbanks and she's -18 right now. And
she's got
I am,
snow.
Yeah.
I believe they said they're in the Toke area. They're at -26.
Yeah. Another question had come up, and it is Thanksgiving, so we should talk about something about that. But what is everybody having for their main course tonight? Rob and Sarah?
All right. We've got a turkey in the oven with stuffing. We've got sweet potatoes, homemade cranberry sauce, and pumpkin soup.
Nice. Alone?
Whatever I scavenge out of the pantry and freezers. I haven't thought about food. I've been busy editing all day. I honestly haven't thought about food. So far I've had a cup of tea and a Guinness, or part of a Guinness. And that's it. So I'll have to figure out dinner later.
Oh,
that's,
Clint, you could do better than ramens, brother.
oh yeah.
As long as it was a chicken flavored ramen, because that's close
Yeah.
enough. For turkey.
Maybe they need turkey flavored ramen for Turkey Day.
There you go.
Yeah.
Turkey and stuffing ramen.
Yum. No, this year we're doing something different other than a turkey, because last year my dogs ate most of the turkey, and I bought a big prime rib bone in,
Oh,
and
nice.
that is in the oven right now. And then of course sweet potatoes, and yeah, we're doing a little different this year. No turkey this year.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
No, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
There's not enough dark meat on a turkey to.
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
it's
That's well, although when you deep fry it, it's all juicy,
true.
which is
Mm.
better. But Lisa Philly has a question. If one of you had a medical emergency, could you get immediate help? And for us, yes, we could.
Well, we could.
I mean, where we are right now, where we're going, no, you're probably going to die.
Much.
That's not true.
It won't
You're only a quarter mile down the trail. Remember, I can stitch you up. I'm not a doctor. I can stitch you.
Perfect.
Yeah, we can sew enough and straighten a bone out with a board. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
would
the-
I would say it depends upon the day for where I'm at. And the situation. It can take anywhere from 1 to 2 hours or greater for emergency help to arrive, depending upon what else is going on.
Yep.
There's only a volunteer fire department in this area, and they service over 500 square miles, 500 square miles, I believe. And they could be tied up on a call on, one part of their zone, and you could have an emergency on the other part, and it could mean that it's pulling resources to get to both parties. Also, while we have ambulance service here, the ambulance service only takes you to the airport here. They don't really. There is a day clinic in the area, but it's limited hours, limited resources. So the ambulance is going to take you to the airport. That can take an hour or greater, depending upon where you're at, maybe a couple hours to get you to the airport. And then from there, you're going to be helicoptered or planed out to Anchorage, which again is, could be a while before a plane or a helicopter can get to you and then get you back into the big city for treatment. So just depends
Yep.
upon the day.
And out here, like where we're at, we can actually sign up for the medevac services to get us out if there is a medical emergency.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And what's
which we have too.
Yep.
in this
What's nice is if we have guests up here or anything like that on property, they're actually covered by it as well. It's just not for a person; it's for the property.
Mhm.
And it's not
Nice.
expensive either. It's only like $100 to $150 a year. And if you ever need it, it's well worth that. It's like you're paying a little bit of an insurance policy.
Mhm.
I seen IM stated he's the medevac nurse on the Eastern Interior. We're covered 1 hour flight to Fairbanks, an hour 45 to Anchorage. That's pretty good. And thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think mine is, I think I'm through Life Med, and I think I only pay like $50 a year for the service. So it's not very expensive, as Rob said, not at all.
Not bad. Northern Girl Hobbies is saying, is it crazy humid in Alaska? No,
Not here.
that's one of the things that I was a little bit shocked by. Honestly, we're not that far from the ocean. We aren't. Anchorage is at the ocean, or Point Mac. So we're maybe an hour and a half away. So I expected kind of extreme humidity. But what I've noticed is that there's like none. There's hardly any humidity here ever. The downside is in the winter, we get a lot of ice fog here in Willow, and the Parks Highway from a little bit north of me all the way to Anchorage will be ice covered and slippery most of the winter, as it is right now. It has like a 1/4 inch of ice on it, and it's not from snow. They sand it, but it's icy in the morning again.
Yeah, it's not humid here at all. That's why I get a lot of comments about people think that I'm faking, or that I'm faking the temperature, or lying when I say that it's -20 out, or whatever. And I'm outside with just a sweater on, no jacket, no nothing. And I'm breathing and they don't see the moisture coming out when I breathe. It's like, well, it's so dry here that it just instantly absorbs the moisture from your breath. And so you don't ever see it. It's that dry.
Yeah.
And I'm also, a couple hours just north of the ocean and surrounded by rivers, but it's incredibly dry.
Yeah, and I think the highest I've seen humidity up here was like 80%, maybe 90 on a rainy day. And that was about it. I mean, like right now we're sitting at 51% humidity outside and 20 on the inside. So if the dog scooches across the couch, don't touch her.
Yeah. And the humidity here right now is 70%, but that's because between 10 below and 10 above zero is the most humid I have found, at least for this area. And when it's humid like that, it's colder. It feels colder than it actually is.
Way colder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Okay, there's one. Good question. Alone?
What is your biggest challenge living there?
Yeah.
My biggest challenge is staying motivated. It's easy to just sit in the chair and watch the scenery and listen to the birds chirp and be, I don't know, in la la land, enjoying what I have around me. So I would say my biggest challenge is to remind myself every day to get up and to actually do stuff, not to just waste the day away, because it's easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say my biggest challenge here is keeping everything running in the winter.
Yeah.
We get extremely cold, and I swear I'm putting a battery in something, and I've got enough small engines around here between the boat to snow machines to you name it, cars, trucks. It's just always keeping things running. Definitely have a good block heater or a battery warmer, whichever your poison may be. For us,
And
it's
plug it in early.
Oh yeah. Yeah, plug them in way early. Don't plug it in 12 minutes before you're supposed to leave and expect it to do anything.
Or if you're like me, sorry to interrupt, but if you're like me and you don't ever go anywhere, you're not driving your vehicle on every day, it means that about the end of October, you need to plug that thing in and leave it plugged in, because if you're not turning that vehicle on very frequently, you're not driving it, it's going to take its toll on your vehicle sitting in the cold like that.
Yep.
Batteries especially, you can kill a where I work, I deal with that on a daily basis. Next trucks use 4 batteries, and it costs about $900 every time we have a battery issue. So maintaining those and making sure you're ready for that's our biggest challenge in surviving flood season. But it wasn't bad this year.
And that's the same way for Sarah and I. It's just keeping everything running and make sure it's maintained and working the way it's supposed to.
Right. My bet asks, why doesn't the cold winter kill the mosquitoes? Whew. I think their little eggs are under the water. And like on a year like this, when we get a lot of snow, I could go out there, even though it's 20 below, and there's a crust on the topsoil about 3, maybe 6 inches deep. And after that, the ground is still soft and warm. The mosquitoes, their eggs and whatever, they're in the water. And we have a river like 12 feet away. And in Alaska, there are more bogs and rivers and lakes here than I don't know where else. And they've got plenty of places to go, unfortunately.
Yep. And the cold doesn't really kill them, because I've had mosquitoes down at the spring in February. And I've got that on video and pictures.
Yeah.
I freaked out the first time I saw it. I'm sitting there filling up the water jugs, and I get a mosquito going like this in front of me. It's like, no, you're wrong season, bro. Go home. You're drunk.
Yeah.
He did. You told me about that, Rob. He had a little fur jacket on, though, didn't he?
I think he took part of Phyllis's when he was here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have chicken.
We have chicken.
I have no livestock, nothing.
We have about 14 chickens, and well, the current count is 4 dogs, soon to drop by 1.
And we had a moose this morning.
Oh yes, and we had a nice moose this morning.
Scared the bejeepers out of me when I opened the door.
Yeah, he was the hump on his back was taller than a Toyota 4Runner. He was probably about a 39-inch moose, and he was walking around licking the salt off the vehicles.
Alaskan car wash.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So we've got moose licks everywhere.
Mhm.
Hey, Leonard, good to see you, my friend.
How far do you live from the vet? Do they make house calls? What in emergency? We do have some mobile vets around here, so if they're in your area, you can call them up and but
yeah, there's plenty of vets. There's vets that are particular to horses. Believe it or not, horses are a big thing here in Alaska. I actually work with a lady who has, I don't know, the herd seems to grow by 5 every month, and they have to buy all their hay, and it is a very expensive proposition to have horses up here. But yeah, she has vets over quite frequently.
and she gets her hay from Canada, right?
Oh, from Canada, Delta Junction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no vets where I live. So if your animal gets sick here, you're driving a couple of hours one direction or another to get to a vet. You're either going down to Valdez or you're heading into Palmer for the nearest vet. And Palmer is a good 3.5, 4 hours drive, depending upon how fast you drive. So no vets here though. So I got a question from John Hogan. Thanks for being here, John. How are you doing? You're doing well. John says, I know what Rob and Sarah and Adam and Phyllis have for transportation. Alone, what do you have? 4-wheeler, side-by-side, snowmobile. Snow machine, no, I don't have. A side-by-side, no. 4-wheeler, no. I don't have anything other than my 2 vehicles. So I have Ford Expedition XLT, EL XLT, and then I have a Ford F-150, but no other things. And I really don't foresee that I'm going to get one anytime soon, unless, like, the only reason I would get either one of those is to go backcountry hunting, but I wouldn't do it just to have it around my property. My property's not that big that I can't traverse it on foot, so...
Yeah, Mountain Mariner has a suggestion that you need a snow machine there alone, and he's got like 4 of them. So
only if Mountain Mariner comes with the snow machine and goes out on a ride with me on it. That's the only way. Yeah, no.
I think you might have just started something.
yeah.
Let's see here. There was another question, but I've lost it. Let's see. Here we go. Glam says, does it really work out economical to have chickens given the egg production slows in the cold?
That all depends on how you do things. Like for the last couple of years, we've been feeding ours beans and rice mixed in with a little calcium from crushed up eggshells, as well as some chili pepper grinds, like the peppercorn seed you see at pizzerias. And we do give them a little bit of light. But most of the time in the summertime, we water glass our eggs for this time of year. However, with the bear mauling this spring, we're down to just 2 hens, and one of them's old, so she might give 1 egg a week. So we're down to like 1 hen laying an egg.
Yeah.
Now, those do stuff a little different sometimes.
Yeah, for us recently, Phyllis had me go and buy some chicken food. I'm like, man, $50. I'm not sure that we get $50 worth of eggs out of these damn chickens here once a month. So we switched over to doing it like Rob does with the beans and rice. And we add some other stuff to it because you can buy a bag of beans for like $7 and a bag of rice is the same. And it seems to last a long time. So the other thing that we have is when they're producing eggs, we have 12 or 14 hens. They produce way more than we can eat. But we have a freeze dryer and we make good use of those eggs, and we freeze dry or we water glass for the rest of the year when they aren't producing.
Yep.
Northern Girl Hobbies asks, your moose season done now? Just bow. That is correct. But yeah, it's just bow.
Oh.
He wasn't legal.
Oh.
Yeah. Phyllis is wanting me to shoot the moose that was in the yard now.
I was going to shoot him.
Yeah, he was not legal. In Alaska, moose hunting has some very, very strict rules.
Yes, it does.
They either got to be a spike fork 50 inches or 3 brow tines, or like where we're at, Rob, they're 4 brow tines. So you better get really good at judging dimensions that way. But yeah, for us, I won't shoot a cow. I think that's wrong. We don't have enough moose as it is. You don't need to do that. But yeah, that is it.
Yeah.
And we do add light to our chicken coop as well, but it doesn't seem to help. They don't keep making eggs.
Not ours.
No, I see a question come up on my chat from Great Lakes Gold Hunters asking if any of us prospect. I do prospect.
Yeah, I
Don't
have
have
not
to-
yet.
But I
Have
do.
fun.
I haven't, though I'm pretty sure I will. I just haven't done it yet.
I think that's something everybody, when they come up here, it's something they look forward to doing. It's just a matter of getting out there and doing it and getting the equipment to do it right, do it justice. And we got a question from Jay Allen Knoll, who says, do any of you use a windmill for power?
No, most places north Willow don't get enough wind year round to justify the price of a wind generator, except for where Ed is on top of the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we only actually get wind down here in Willow 3 or 4 days a year. This year was a bit of an exception. It was
We had like 6 days.
yeah, we had like 6 days of wind, but not enough to do anything.
Yeah. And for me, it's in the spring and in the fall are the 2 windy times of the year. But other than that, the winds really aren't that noticeable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Leonard, that's a good question. Would owning a horse be a good investment or a deep cost? Would it be worth it where you live? The number one reason why people own horses in Alaska is to use them for hunting, because there are a lot of units that are foot traffic only, and horses use their feet, so that counts. And they use horses for moose hunting a lot and caribou hunting. But as far as, does that possibly pay for the expense of having the horse and having to buy every bit of hay? Back home, if I got $100 for a round bale, I thought I was in heaven and I was rich. Here they pay up to $400 or $500 per bale. So I'd have to lean on saying no. I'm not sure how it's worth it. I don't know. I know several people that do, but I don't know how you afford it.
I think if we were to get a horse type creature, it would be a mule.
Yeah, a mule would be. I mean, mules are awesome for a lot of different reasons. They can carry like 3 or 4 times more than a horse can, and they're far more wary. So I know I've got a friend that has a mule, and he used to take him moose hunting, and that mule would always spot the moose. The horses would walk right past it and have no clue it was there, but the mule would always spot it. They are far more wary and kind of a unique animal, but they have to have a partner. They can't be just a lone critter in the pen. They have to have something else.
I'll keep him in the house.
No. Maybe a miniature Highlander or something like that would work.
Okay.
It would probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, not in our future. Alone? Are you thinking about getting a horse?
I think she's frozen.
I think she's.
Mountain Mariner says, if I got a horse, I'd call him Mr. Ed.
Of course you would. Of course.
Oh,
Of course.
And then he would be the co-chair of Edmundville or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Edmonton.
Let's see
Nice.
if I. Oh, she's
Sorry
back.
about that. I froze again.
Yeah.
I got to get the Starlink put up on the roof. Obviously, it's set down too low.
Oh, I'm super good at doing that alone.
It's a good thing he was too far away because I had to edit out words.
Oh yeah.
So Colin is asking, what makes people want to live and stay in Alaska?
Oh my, the number of reasons are so many.
Yep.
Unless you're independently wealthy and you want to do the hunting and fishing like we do, I'll give you a for instance. If you live in Wisconsin and want to go on a bear hunt up here, you have to pay for the out-of-state license, pay for a locking tag. It's mandatory that you have a guide. You're going to pay for your flight. It's going to be around a bear hunt or a moose hunt costs around $25,000 a piece. As a resident, I can do that for, I buy the tags over the counter and I can walk off in the backyard and shoot a moose or a bear. If that's what you're up here for, yeah, that's perfect. The amount of scenery and the things that we do, people in the lower 48 that we're friends with, they accuse us of being on vacation since we've been up here.
Yeah.
You know, from the ocean fishing, it's just, to me, if you are a lover of the outdoors, it's just this is heaven. That's why we stay here. Alone?
Yeah, I would say the same thing, though I'm going to add to what you were just saying about going fishing and, you know, your friends accusing you of being on vacation all the time. When I was in Colorado, like I said, I was fishing and camping and hunting every single weekend. Every weekend I was out and about in the mountains. Since being here, since I'm alone, there's a lot of things that I will not do by myself out in the woods because of the fact of the potential of being approached by a bear. And so it's best if you have somebody to accompany you, someone that can watch your back and you can watch theirs, you know, while you're taking your, you know, casting your line. So, but yeah, I stay here because I love it. And like Adam said about the scenery is breathtaking, and the amount of opportunities to do things is also breathtaking. So that's why I stay.
Yep. And it's the same for us.
Yeah.
It's just, Alaska is amazing. I mean, it's addictive. Once you come once, you're going to want to keep coming back.
That happens to a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
No better place to live in our eyes.
Yep.
Yeah. But you got to be willing to also make some sacrifices to live here. It's not all fun and games and beauty. I mean, as we all talked about, you know, the struggles of when we first got here with challenges with our homes and things like that, but also the cold. You got to be a fan of the cold. You got to be willing to shovel snow or clear snow or move snow, haul in firewood. You know, you could live in the cities and, you know, not have a wood burning stove, be on gas power or what have you. But I think for a lot of people that think about coming to Alaska, they think about living a lifestyle similar to what the three of us channels are living. So,
yeah, I just want to address something that popped up. Moosey says this is a member only question and answer. Got it. No, actually, it's not. What's happening is we all have our own channels up right now. So there are multiple people in different chats, but they all kind of converge into one here. So if you're seeing questions from somebody else, it might be somebody in one of the other chats. We did it this way so we can all try to, you know, get our people in and get notification. That's why we did it this way. Where last year we did it all on my channel last year.
And it also might be that if you ask a question that maybe we didn't see it come up in the chat, or that the question was directed just specifically to one person who might answer it in the chat themselves. So if you ask something and we didn't get to it, feel free to ask it again, and hopefully we will get to your question.
Do some sort of like exclamation point or a question mark on each, and something that makes your question stand out, because there's
thumbs up emoji.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's hard to see everything.
Yeah, there's I don't know how many everybody's got in their chats, but I know I've got around 100 in my chat, and I'm sure there's about the same in some of the other chats. So I mean, we're not going to be able to see every question, unfortunately.
But we are trying. So just feel free to ask again, and hopefully we'll see it. Because the other thing is when we're talking, at least for me, I know I'm looking at the camera, and so I'm not seeing.
Seeing you get froze.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy.
Um,
Hey, PJ, let me see. We're waiting for her to come back. Let's see who else in the chats here for us. Karen, Stitching It Up, P&J, Northern Girl, Hogan,
Mhm.
Amy from High Life. Thank you for all being here. Trustee, Ed.
Hi.
Did she come back yet? No.
Oh,
There she
Yeah,
is.
I'm here. Sorry about that. I really got to move that Starlink. So Titus and Jackie asked a question saying, hello from Texas. Down here we have ag exemptions. Do you guys have anything like that there to help on property taxes in the tax area?
Yeah, egg exemptions are really common in Wisconsin as well, where they purposely value your land at a much lower rate. Like say the piece of woods next to you is $4,000 an acre, but if it's an egg, it'll be valued at like $300 an acre. So you're paying on that. So it's reduced taxes, which is kind of nice. In Alaska, there is some ag, not as much as there used to be. Over by Palmer, Palmer and Copper Center has some areas that actually kind of remind me of Wisconsin, and they may have that very same thing. But where all three of us live, not really, nothing here. And our taxes are what, $300 a year, Phyllis? $600?
I think it's 6.
It's like $600 a year that we pay in taxes here.
And how many square foot do you guys have in your home?
It's around 700.
700.
Yeah, it's not very big,
Yeah.
but
And how about you, Robin, sir? How do you pay taxes?
Yeah, we pay our taxes millage rate isn't that high, but we have a lot of buildings here.
We
We've
do.
got 1,860 square foot house, 780 square foot house, the cabin, the barns, all that stuff. Our tax is not prohibitive at all. I mean, it's pennies compared to what other places are. But here in some areas, you can actually get a little bit of tax break for your age, where they reduce it down. We haven't done that, but we haven't had a need to because the taxes are not high at all.
So for me, I'm in an area where I have no tax liability other than federal. So I don't pay any property tax or anything like that. But going back to the question about ag exemptions, one of the properties that I looked at before deciding on this one was zoned for agricultural use only. So if you purchase that land, you could only use it for agricultural use. Yes, you could live on it, but you had to do a business providing agricultural benefits in some way or another to the property. And so you couldn't like buy the land and then open a bed and breakfast on it unless your bed and breakfast was tied into a farm of some sort. Or, you could raise crops or animals or chop trees or whatever, but you had to do something agricultural on it. And that property was not any cheaper than any other piece of land that I looked at and did not come with any additional tax benefits that I was aware of at the time.
I'm going to just do a little weird one and answer a question from Jackie R. only because I have some firsthand knowledge of it. Jackie R. is asking, hi from New Mexico. Is it hard and how expensive to get a horse up there? It's not hard, but they have to have all their medical certifications and, like you would with a dog or anything like that. I actually have a friend that bought a high-end Friesian. He's a breeder. And they actually shipped him from Finland via FedEx. I know they shipped a horse FedEx, but they shipped him.
But we can't get batteries.
Yeah, but we can't get this in batteries, but I can get a horse. So they shipped the horse FedEx. He had to fly into like California and be sure he had to be there for like a month to make sure he didn't have any diseases or issues. And then they put him on another plane and brought him to Anchorage. So I guess the cheaper route would be to put them on a trailer behind your truck and bring them up that way. But yeah, you can ship horses FedEx. Who knew?
Yeah. So I got a question, and thank you, Corgiville, for the super chat here of $1.99. I greatly appreciate that. The question is, how do the allergens affect you there? My allergies mostly are food related, but then also I have allergies to the sun, the gamma B rays in the sun, to be more specific, things like that. So for me, it's great because the sun's hardly out here. So I'm not breaking out from that. Food allergies actually seem to be less, believe it or not, here than what I was experiencing in Colorado, even though I'm still eating the same types of food. So I don't know why that would be, unless stress was causing the allergy reactions to go up, which I don't have as much stress here. But I don't have sinus allergies or hay fever or anything like that. So do either of you guys have that?
We don't have allergies to
No.
anything.
I know a lot of people are allergic to the cottonwoods, and we
Oh.
have quite a bit of cottonwood in our area because we're low by the river
Yep. Down by the river.
in a van.
We don't live in a van, but no. Oh boy. I see a good one coming up for Rob from Leonard Thomas. He
Oh,
can answer.
Lord.
Leonard Thomas is asking, how much coffee do you buy? Do you go through a lot of coffee and tea in the winter months? I don't know that it changes much winter to summer, but when we go, we buy the big bags, the whole bean, and then we grind it and we use a coffee press.
Yep.
We've got a couple of different coffee presses. We use one that we'll take camping with us that fits in our
Jet boil.
in the jet boil. Otherwise, yeah.
I also have 2 coffee shops on my way to work. One is within a half mile of the house.
Yeah, there's coffee shops everywhere.
I was gonna say, I don't know how many are on the way to your work. You got 2, 3, probably 5.
Yeah, the best one is actually past work, where they serve a mac and cheese and prime rib burrito. It is about the best thing I've ever had. It costs $13, but if you can eat the whole thing, you're good for the day.
Yeah. And we go through about 5 pounds of coffee a month,
Oh,
plus
that's
tea.
more than us.
Yeah,
That's what?
That's more than us.
yeah. And
I like
I don't drink tea, so
Yeah, I drink tea and I drink coffee. I don't even know how much coffee I go through because I buy so much. But I also grind my beans and I use just a drip coffee maker like that sits over your cup. But I have a cup of coffee every day, sometimes 2-3 times a day. So yeah, I don't track it because I just pour it into a canister. It gets low, I throw more in there, and I don't think about it till I go back to go shopping in 6 months. And so
right. Yeah, that was a good question.
yeah.
Yep. Good question, Leonard.
Let's see here. I'm trying to get this question show. There we go. Glam Mom says, what happens if you need ongoing medication? How does supply work? And are GPs difficult to find?
General practitioners. Gosh, we have right in Willow here. We don't have a full out hospital. I mean, we're an itty bitty town, just a drive by town, but we do have GPs here.
We have
And
two clinics.
two
here.
clinics just in Willow. So,
Yep.
Yep.
I'm not on any medication that isn't self-induced.
And that's the same for us.
I don't take anything but aspirin or ibuprofen. That's
Yep.
it. As
I
needed.
believe,
I can fly.
but you would have to plan ahead and either have things mailed to you. Like if Rob and Sarah needed medication, they would have to have an arrangement to either get 6 months worth ahead or that it gets shipped to them somehow.
Yep.
Train.
Yep.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they would.
RP, our predators an issue with horses. That's another good reason they have a mule, because the mule will protect the horses. Yes, they are. I have a friend that was bucked off his horse while moose hunting when a brown bear charged them, and then it got close to the horse. The horse reared up. The brown bear ran on by, but the horse threw him off the back.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're definitely an issue. In any places where there are moose, there are predators. Wolves I'd worry about a whole lot less than I would about the bears. The bears are most definitely something to worry about up here with horses. Oh, Rob,
There it is,
this is
Rob.
for you.
I have the worst luck at Home Stupid. I mean, Home Depot. Every time I go in there, something is wrong.
Every
Even when I
time.
order things online, it's wrong. I can walk in there and say, okay, I have this piece. I need to do this, this, and this. What do you have that I can make this? Like I went in to get the propane plumbing for the new stove. And I said, okay, this is what I need. This is the size. He gave me 3 different sizes. And none of them match.
None of them work.
Luckily, I was able to go out to my shop and cobble stuff together. But I could go on and on with horror stories from Home Depot.
And Lowe's is no
Lowe's is a little bit better.
little.
At least their 2x4 is a little straighter.
Lowe's also has a better selection of molding, as I found out working on this bathroom that I'm finishing up. Home Depot, yeah, it's hit and miss. And like some of the stores carry some of the products in Home Depot and some of the stores don't. So like you'll be looking for something and they're like, oh, you can only get that in Anchorage. You can't get that in Wasilla.
Mhm.
And then the local hardware store close to where I'm at is double, if not triple, the cost of Home Depot. So a lot of times bundle up all my errands that I need to get done and head into town. Meaning I head into the Matsu Valley to go to Home Depot as opposed to buying locally because it's so much more expensive. And I'm like, if I'm going to spend that money, I might as well get a drive out of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And get some groceries and other things too. So
I guess I
Yeah.
don't really have any stories to do with it other than the selection is certainly never as good as Menards used to be back in Wisconsin. It's we carry these 5 things, you know. It's like Henry Ford saying you can have a Model A in any color you want as long as it's black. That's Alaska department stores. Jack Brown asks, I eat once a day. Do you all have 3 squares?
Yep.
And
I-
snacks.
I have to. I'd say I definitely, if I don't, like say I skip breakfast or I skip lunch, I will end up with heartburn by the end of the day. The biggest thing that keeps that away from me is just eating regular.
Mhm.
Yep.
During the week, I only eat twice a day.
Mhm.
I'll eat around noon, between 11 and noon, just kind of snacking on stuff, and then supper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also depends on your activity level.
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm out in the 20 below cutting firewood, I'm
yeah.
burning calories like you wouldn't believe. So yeah, it definitely matters. How about
Yeah,
you?
I eat once a day. Once a day. I have a great big cup of coffee in the morning. Well, I shouldn't say it's a great big, a normal size cup of coffee in the morning, but I put heavy whipping cream in there. So it's 40% fat. So I get most of my calories in that coffee and no sugar, just cream and coffee. And then I eat a big dinner at night. So like what you would not expect a girl to eat, just, yeah, whatever Adam's eating, triple that. That's what I'm eating.
I can eat a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, and you, like Adam was saying, you really have to watch your diet here. Back in Florida, before we moved here, well, Hogan will tell you, we lived at Dunkin' Donuts in the morning for our coffee, and then I just ate it at dinner time.
Oh.
I tried that when I got here,
Mm-mm.
and I went downhill fast. I mean, I'm usually around 190 pounds, and I went down to about 160.
It was
And Sarah looked at me and says, "You need to eat more now." And I looked in the mirror, you know, and I'm like, "Oh, I guess she's right." And I think I went down to like a size 30 on the waist.
yeah, it was way
That's
I
tiny.
didn't look good.
no, and it was surely sapping his strength,
Yeah.
and he needs his strength. I just nibble.
I've never been a snacker. Never probably will be. But I do like my coffee in the morning. That's for sure.
I
Yeah.
like my popcorn in the evening.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
British Tech Guru has a good question. Do you find natural medications are the thing for you to turn to more often? Charcoal for bad stomachs, alcohol for drinking, in cuts, etc. The alcohol for drinking, definitely. I do that, but I will say the more that I'm here, the most I'll ever take for any kind of a pill is a quick Excedrin, or if my back is hurting me, in a Aleve. But we started making a cold medication here with honey and turmeric and all the good things and tonic water. And honestly, that works better than any medication I've ever taken for that. And I think the longer that we're here, the more we tend to explore those options.
Yeah, I picked Usnea.
Yep.
And I made a tea out of it for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because I had a cold like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And I think it helped.
And when I saw her getting the cold, I started taking my homemade cold medicine, and I never got it.
True.
So preventative medication works best.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I've always been a fan of natural remedies, so I still rely on them. But, this goes back to the question about what do you do in an emergency? Honestly, just knowing how to take care of yourself, like you said, being preventative, as opposed to being reactive is a huge part of that. But then if you do wind up in an emergency, knowing how to treat your emergency in case help can't arrive is also a huge part of it. So
Need to try.
Yeah, Rob has a good background in emergencies and how to manage them.
Yeah, I've
And
been in some bad situations offshore on boats, and I keep a very level head.
Mhm.
Nothing panics me, nothing really freaks me out. It's hard to get me on edge, especially if it's a medical emergency.
Interesting question. So Marie asks, what are your thoughts about pole shift and how will it affect where you live?
I don't think it's going to affect us in our lifetime.
Geez, I don't know. I have heard stories on it. There's a lot of conjecture that goes around. I think it would be pretty well catastrophic, either way you look at it. I deal with the things that are within my control, and things that aren't, I don't worry about, because I can't do anything about it.
Yep, you just deal with them.
And worrying is like paying for a debt you don't owe. So I guess that's my thoughts on it. Alone?
I haven't paid too much attention to it. I mean, I hear them talk about it, and saying, that if the poles shift, the oceans are going to stop. There'll be no more tidal waves. What?
Oh, and she grows.
he's gone.
Oopsies.
Rob, do you have any input on that?
Don't know enough about it.
No.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
There's so many other things out there that are more imminent, I think, than that. I mean, and who knows when it'll happen? It's kind of like the Yellowstone volcano thing. As you said, it might not happen in our lifetime. So I for one, am not focused on it.
Exactly.
And then this is a political question, which we typically don't delve into political questions here. But I will just say, I don't know anything about Lisa Murkowski. Yeah, I'm not that in tune to what's happening with our senators and representatives. So I couldn't tell you one way or another. I should be, but I'm not.
Yeah, I would say that I'm not a fan. That's all I'll say.
I know nothing about it, so if you ignore it, it goes away.
So Red has a question. With the exception of Alone, do any of you have family close to you? Joining late may have already been asked. Notice how I ad-lib that. That's how my brain works. Currently, our son is here, but he's going to be flying back to Florida shortly. Alaska's been a little tough on him. He came up here with some debt, and that proved to be crippling. So he plans to. It's kind of dumb because he's been here for a year, so he's finally a citizen, and or a resident. So you have to live in Alaska for 1 year to get resident rights, like dip netting. That's only open for residents.
Yep.
So he is going to fly back. He's going to square his own stuff away and then come up here. Which brings up another note. Don't move here for a girl. Just
Nope.
say.
Yep.
Neither Sarah or I have family up here either.
No.
I have some distant cousins, like my mom's cousins, sort of things, but nobody I'm close to. And
No.
it's kind of nice to know that they're there, but we don't meet up with them. We occasionally text and check in, but that's about it.
They check on us every now and then to make sure the mosquitoes didn't get us or something else. But
Right.
yeah, otherwise we're up here alone.
Mhm.
Carrie Ramsey, our property is affordable there. Well,
Depends on where you live.
yeah, that really depends on where you want to live. Like the property that we just purchased, I think it was incredibly affordable. 4.25 acres for not that much money. But if you wanted to live downtown Talkeetna, holy smokes, you're going to pay $500,000 for an acre
Yeah.
with nothing on it. How about over in your neck of the woods alone?
I would say, oh gosh, I'm really problem with being alone is that I'm not in touch with reality. I'm not in touch with what's happening out there. I would say though that when I found my property, it was very reasonably priced. It had sat vacant for better than half a decade, and for the amount of land that I have, the views that I have, and the fact that there was a standing structure on it. Now, granted, it did need a lot of work, but considering some of the other properties I've seen, this was very affordable. But again, not only does it depend upon where you're looking, but it also depends upon what you think affordable is, right? If you're looking for land at $1,500 an acre, like you can find in Southern Colorado, I don't think you're going to find that here. $5,000, $10,000 an acre, that's more reasonable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we paid about $3,000 an acre.
Yeah.
For the land that we're getting, which to me it seemed like a steal of a deal. Really excited about that.
It's beautiful. Mhm.
J. Allen Knoll asks, speaking of bears, how does one handle that brown bear when it charges? Ooh, very quickly, I hope.
Quickly.
Yeah, that's up here. It's ironic. I just had a friend that came up here from Wisconsin, and there was a gun show in Willow, and I couldn't go because I was up checking out the land. And he's like, "Wow, you Alaskans, you have quite the arsenal. You like only the big stuff. There's no small guns here. Like all the pistols were 454 Casuls and everything big." And that is 100% because of the bears. You have like 5 seconds to make a decision, and sometimes less, and not make mistakes. Like say you're doing a hike, a lot of people get attacked by bears when they're sheep hunting because they end up between a sow and her cubs. And a lot of those guys like to carry their rifle in their backpack. Well, I know how that ends up firsthand. So you have to be prepared. It's going to happen if you spend enough time outdoors here. And I know Rob has had some more experiences with that.
Yeah.
But bears,
Bears.
yeah, we've had a few bad experiences with them, but they're just pit us.
Pain in the neck.
How was the
Speaking of-
howler situation?
Yeah.
We've had them on the trail just the other night after we had the snow, but they have not been howling. And the last time we actually seen them was when Adam was up here a couple weeks back.
Right.
So they're probably up by Ed's place right now, and they'll probably be circling back around this way here real soon, because that's the direction they were heading.
I've not seen one, but I've heard them and seen the tracks.
Yeah, and that I gotta say, being a part of that, that is my first time ever hearing or seeing wolves in the wild,
Mhm.
and that was exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
my adrenaline was right to the top. That was
It would get the hairs on your back, your neck stand
Mhm.
up real quick.
Well,
I mean, especially when we were only what at that one point when he was howling a lot, less than 200 yards from him.
yeah, yeah. And at one point, when I walked up on my land, I was within about 50 yards of a wolf, and then we heard it howling. I'm like, what? How did he get 200 yards away? He's
It
not
wasn't
that.
a wolf.
It's right. Different wolves.
Yeah, there were at least 3 wolves, and one of them was right close to me. I kind of snuck up on him, which you don't hear people say very often. But that was an awesome experience. That was great. And it, not gonna lie, it influenced my decision to buy the land because that was awesome. That was my yeah.
Speaking
Yeah,
of buying land, Renee Brown is asking, do they have property for sale with owner financing?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Occasionally.
all the
Yep.
time. Yeah, they'll want a good portion down, 20 to
Yeah.
40% down, but then they will do owner financing.
And you can't
And
blame them for that either.
Right.
No.
No.
And it might come with a high interest rate too, like 8-10% interest rate or whatever, you
Right.
know.
But
But
up here,
it's
there
definitely
are a
thing.
lot of people that don't want to go through the banks and stuff like that. So there is a lot of owner financing, and a lot of the properties you can't get standard financing for because they won't.
Right.
They're not
Mhm.
up to code and stuff like that.
Yeah, remote properties and housing, you have to watch whether or not you can even get insurance on it.
Mhm.
And financing is a whole nother story. We've been lucky so far. We paid cash for the place that we're in, and we're paying cash for the property we're buying. So it's not a worry. But yeah, if you wanted something else, that could really be a challenge to look into before you get moved up here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There a lot of there's a few sites you can look at for that'll show a lot of for sale by owner. Remote Properties is one of them. Off Grid Alaska, I think, is another one that they have a lot of them that will be listed with owner financing possibilities.
It's back. Okay. Titus and Jackie, do you have problems getting certain car brand parts? If so, which brand is easier to get?
That's you, honey.
Wow, that's like directed right at me because that's what I do all day. I guess not really. If you're looking for new parts, you got to shop around. I still do. What is it? That the jingle is in my head about the parts that I used to use all the time back home. Can't picture it, but no, I guess I don't have any more problems with one versus the other, unless it's a Mack. If it's a Mack truck, if you're into big trucks, I won't even because all their parts come from the East Coast of the United States and international. I don't work on either of those. Won't even let them in the shop. Anything else? Nothing irregular.
So Leonard Thomas has another question. Does less sun make it harder getting stuff done in winter? Would a sun lamp give you enough vitamin K during that period?
I've never used one.
I have not either.
I just go outside.
Mhm.
I know.
And I would,
Winter depression is a really big thing here in Alaska because it's extreme. During the winter months like this, it's getting dark now, and it's 3:30. So that's the only way that it makes it harder for me to get stuff done in the winter is I don't have daylight. So
Mhm.
we switch over to wearing headlamps full time. But there's certain things you're just not going to do in the dark. You're not cutting trees in the dark or anything like that. So that's where it makes it difficult. I don't personally know anyone that suffers from the winter depression though.
No.
I don't
Right
either.
now, we're at 5 hours and 53 minutes of daylight. Sun comes up at 9:52 and goes down at 3:45.
Mhm.
Why?
What time does your son come up?
9:52.
Yeah,
Almost.
so mine is 9:30 and 3:30.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you're a little bit lower south than us.
Yeah. And for me, the hard part in the wintertime is that I definitely rise and sleep with the sun. So
Mhm.
not that I'm falling asleep at 3:30 in the afternoon, but I definitely get up later. In a couple more weeks, I won't be waking up till about 10:30 in the morning. So, and in the
Good.
summertime, I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
Okay.
No, I'm up early.
Always.
Farm boy.
Mhm.
Let's see. Self-esteem asks, in place of using costly traditional powered freezer in home in the winters, could you just put it outside?
Yes.
And of course, lock it with a heavy lock for the bears and such for your food. Our freezer, for instance, it stays out on the front porch, and we just unplug it in the winter. It doesn't hurt it at all.
Yep, ours has been unplugged for about a month now.
Mhm.
Both of them.
Yep.
And it looks like a lone froze. I don't know, but yeah, it definitely saves on the electricity. And I
Yes.
know keeping up with newer ones makes a difference too. When we first moved here, we bought a used one for $50. I thought, wow, that's a win. The first time I plugged it in, because we're off grid with solar and generator backup, I saw that it was drawing 10 amps. I was like, holy cow, I can't afford to run this freezer
No,
at
it's
all.
on its way out.
Yeah, and then like 2 weeks later, it kept drawing up to 15 amps, but it put out no cold at all. So we replaced it with a new modern freezer, and it only draws like 2 amps.
Yeah.
Are yours are plugged in all year round alone?
Mine are plugged in all year round, but I am planning on moving them. I'm thinking about either moving them down into the cellar because it's in the wintertime, it's freezing down there. Everything is, below 30 degrees. Or I'm thinking about leaving them where they're at until I get the shop built, which is still a year or so away. And then they'll be stored out there. Probably in the cellar though, because I can't imagine going out to the shop to get dinner every night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And RMP asks, my friend in Idaho has medevac options, some kind of subscription or membership. Do those options exist up there? Yes. This is what we were talking about earlier with LifeMed and Guardian. Those are the two evacuation medical services that we have up here.
On the meat quick.
And British Tech Guru says, do you grow your own veggies in summer, then preserve them for winter? Phyllis, I'll let you go over that.
Yeah.
You guys have more preservation techniques, I think, than the rest of us.
So yes, we what did we can? We canned beans, green beans,
and carrots, and
carrots,
and freeze dried a ton of stuff.
and yeah, we freeze dried a lot. And the tomatoes, I have to start them earlier, I believe. They never turned green before it started freezing, so
No, they started green. They never turned red.
or they never turned red, sorry.
Did you try to ripen them on your counter?
We did, and then they like instantly went to mush. So the chickens.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. We put ours in a brown paper bag
And they
on the
ripened up
counter,
good.
and they ripened up nicely. But I check them every day.
Yeah.
Right.
But we have good
And I
luck
let-
with tomatoes.
Yeah.
The greenhouse does really well. I think we had like 40 or 50 plants this year. And
Mhm.
we were eating them off them regularly for a while. Same
Right.
thing with cucumbers.
Mhm.
Yeah, we had a lot of cucumbers, and I think we ate most of them.
And our cabbage did phenomenal.
Yes.
They were huge. And I tried my hand at making my own sauerkraut, and what it
Ooh.
tastes like is canned cabbage. It didn't get the sauerkraut thing at all, but
So I'll leave my jars for a while before I open them then.
Yeah.
I still really like it because I love cabbage.
Yeah.
but it doesn't taste like sauerkraut. It tastes like cabbage.
Tastes better.
She
Sounds
doesn't-
like it'd be good fried up with some pork, though.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. It is.
Yeah.
What
I
You
did it
did
with
with
some brats.
brats? Yeah.
Oh, and those brats come out amazing.
Mhm.
Mhm. Oh, very good.
Did you can your kraut, or did you just pack it in a crock?
I did it two different ways. One, I did one where you add salt and vinegar and you kind of pound it and whatever and throw it in a jar and then you pressure can it. The downside of that is you're killing the good things that are sauerkraut is supposed to be beneficial for your gut health. Then I tried it the other way and I bought these glass weights to put on it after I crushed it and did all the things. And I don't know, I get a lot of mold on it. Maybe that's normal. I don't know. I've never made sauerkraut before. And I
think
haven't.
it's normal to get some yeast on the top, but I don't know about mold.
No, I get
but-
full of mold.
Interesting.
I thought
Colorful
it-
stuff, not just white.
No, it's blue. It's
Mm.
got all the
That's
colors.
pretty.
Yeah.
That's penicillin.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, I'd be afraid if it was molding. Something's not right there.
Yeah,
Like,
something
With the amount of
pH.
salt that you should be adding,
Yep.
and also if everything's submerged under the liquid,
Yep.
and your jars are sterile and everything like that,
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't think.
I don't know.
But
I'll wait till Rob comes over to try it.
Yeah, so I have a garden. I've had a garden in for the last couple of years, but it's not in the optimal spot and it's kind of tiny. But I am putting up some cabbages for the winter. Lots of potatoes. The potatoes did phenomenal this year. I think I got, oh my goodness, I think I got 60 pounds of potatoes from an 8-foot row.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
plant potatoes this year. We bought ours from Three Ladybug Farm in Palmer, and we got a 50-pound sack of the Yukon Golds and a 50-pound sack of the Reds for like $60.
Yeah. And that is the nice thing, is that you can get good starts up here. So you don't have to invest in grow lights and heat lamps and heat mats and things like that. The nurseries are ample, in the Matsu Valley. I'm sure up by Delta Junction and Fairbanks or down in Juneau, where have you. So you don't have to have a green thumb necessarily to get started in your garden, because I've killed off my seedlings this last year, but luckily I was able to still get a garden with the things I was able to buy at the nurseries. So, and Carrie's asking if there's any Bigfoot stories. I haven't seen Bigfoot yet. People keep saying they see him in my videos, but
There are always stories.
only stories for us. I've not seen anything.
No.
Right.
I bet my time's coming though.
Mm-hmm.
I hope.
Probably.
As long as Rob and Sarah don't scare him away.
Right.
Though, on a serious note, have you seen, what's the strangest experience you've had since arriving in Alaska?
Wow. That's a question.
I work at a thrift store. It has nothing to do with the supernatural.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I will say Adam had an experience up here.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Can I tell that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So weirdly enough, I stayed in not the trapper's cabin, but the other cabin.
That's not
Yeah.
the weird.
Well, no, that's not the weird part. But when I got there, I brought a couple of chainsaws and I set one on the chair outside the porch. Why not? I can't hurt anything. Well, I slept on the couch that night down by the fire and with facing the door, because that's just what I would do. And at 6 or 6:30 in the morning, the floor squeaks a little bit, through the kitchen. Just a light little squeak when you walk across it. And I woke up wide awake, listening to squeak, 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 like walking from the door to the stove. I'm like, what is going on? Did Rob come in here when I'm sleeping? That is weird. I got up, I looked around, there was nothing. I didn't get a creepy feeling or anything, but something clearly walked across the floor. It's something at least my weight. And I looked around outside, it wasn't even windy. And I was like, holy, something just walked across the floor. And then I didn't go back to sleep after that because Rob said, wow, you're up early. Because I'm a late riser if I can be, because I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day during the week. And no, I was up. That was, yeah.
So,
And I think it was because the gentleman that used to live there, he passed away sitting on a chair, sitting on the front porch of the cabin. So there's always a chair on the front porch of the cabin. Unfortunately, nobody told me this story, and I put a chainsaw on his chair. So
He was probably irritated.
I think that's why he came to visit.
yeah.
I'm glad you clarified because I was going to ask you, and how does this relate to the chainsaw? So,
Yeah. And I circled back to it. So
yeah.
that's
Mhm.
probably the weirdest thing I've seen. I mean, other than like Big Lake Brandy, but that's a whole nother story that we won't get into today.
And that's really all we've had too. I've always had that feeling like somebody's watching over my shoulder, judging sometimes what I'm doing, either shaking his head or saying yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's the old man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was there with me that night.
Which is fine. He doesn't seem to be malicious or anything. He just,
Yeah. No, I didn't get that feeling, but I mean, honestly, it was clearly someone walked across that floor. And it was at the rate of speed that I would walk. It wasn't like just a squeak and nothing. It was like 6 in a row. So,
That's enough to raise the hairs on the back of your neck and make you think twice.
yep, a little bit.
British Tech Guru is asking, will a 12 gauge with solid shot stop a bear?
Yes.
Yeah, it should. Well, did they make the penetrator rounds for that too, Rob? Yeah. So remember the biggest difference from hunting moose or bear versus a deer that everyone else hunts. You've got to go through like 6-8 inches of fur and bone and stuff before you hit anything vital. And that's where like hollow points and stuff you just don't use up here.
No. If you buy hollow points up here for a critter, you're wasting your money and wasting your life, because if a bear's charging you and they're shooting at it with hollow points, you're SOL and just kiss yourself goodbye.
Yeah. Leonard Thomas has a good question. How are the Veterans Affairs in Alaska? Could you use your benefits for more property? What about veterans' health benefits? As a veteran, I can honestly tell you that I've never used any of it. The biggest reason being, the one time I tried to was a long time ago back in Wisconsin. I wanted to use my, to get a home loan. And the realtor said, if you use that, I'll just sell it to someone else because that process takes too long, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. But at the time, I just went ahead and used a different method. So, but is it available? Yes. Alaska should have the same rights as any other state.
yeah, and as far as the VA, like the doctor, can't remember. There's one in Wasilla, I believe.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming they're about the same as anywhere else.
Probably.
Probably wait too long to get in.
Mhm.
Probably.
Gladys Amundsen, sorry, I probably did not pronounce that correctly, says, how far do you have to go to buy clothes for winter, or do you shop online?
We go to the thrift store that I work at. So about 2 months.
Wait. Yeah.
We go visit Phyllis and hang out there and buy stuff.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also buy at a couple of fairly high-end stores, and I have found that at some level it pays to spend more the first time.
Yeah.
And I have to try things on to make sure they fit and are comfortable
Boots are the big issue.
Boots
up
are the
here.
biggest issue. Yeah.
Yeah, thrift store boots they're hit and miss. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
some of them come in and they've been worn twice. Some
Right.
of them come in, they're well worn and we check for leaks and stuff like that. But somebody will buy them and come back a couple weeks later and be like, yeah, those weren't so good. But for $6 for an $80 pair of boots,
Right.
you take your chances.
Too bad they don't spend that quality assurance time on puzzles, huh, Sarah?
I figured this puzzle out.
All
What
the pieces are actually there. It's just
And then
there's puzzles inside of puzzles.
Yeah, right.
So every time we get a new puzzle in, I can hear her. I'll be working on clothes and I'll hear her shake it. And she's like, yeah, it sounds like they're all there. And we giggle and think about Sarah and pass it on.
I not only had all the pieces, I had all the pieces for 2 puzzles.
Yeah.
Okay.
But only one of them fit. So I had all these extra pieces that didn't make any sense at all. And I'm not smarter than a puzzle, apparently. But it was, I never did get it finished. But oh my, that was the hardest puzzle I've ever done.
Well, she didn't finish it because I needed my baking station
He
back because she
did.
does it on the rolling counter behind me.
He did need his baking station.
So you want bread, you got to put it up.
Right.
What about you, Miss Malone?
So I haven't bought clothes in forever. Well, that's not true. I have bought some pants since arriving in Alaska because I mainly wear dresses. And while I need to get some new dresses, I'll just make them when I'm ready. But I haven't even sewn anything since I've arrived in Alaska. So it's been 4 years? I'm going to my 4th year, and I haven't sewn, which is a shame. But yeah, so I'm one that I'll wear my clothes out. Like they will literally be falling apart at the seams before I buy new clothes.
Yep.
But my stuff was from Florida and it didn't work up here for beans.
Yeah.
Tommy Bahama dresses don't quite work.
They
up here.
don't. Little sundress. Not going to happen.
You'd be surprised at how much Tommy Bahama comes through for the men's.
Really?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. I've worn shorts twice since we've lived here.
Right.
I used to wear shorts for 4 months straight.
used to wear-
So
Yeah, did.
I'm trying to get Jason to cut a hole in the ice for us again.
Hmm.
And still not going to wear shorts for that. Still
No.
going to be long johns. And
For the Wim Hof swimming.
yeah. And then this coming weekend, I think I might have shorts for that and a long sleeve top.
Hmm.
So
I'll be at home.
no, you won't.
Hmm.
No, you're driving.
Oh. Oh, boy.
No, next weekend.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Next weekend. Sorry.
Joseph, actually, Sarah and I do have a sawmill here. We have a Sawyer, Hudson Sawyer, and we also have multiple Alaskan mills.
Yep.
Yeah, and I use an Alaskan chainsaw mill, and looks like I'm going to be using it a lot here soon.
Looks like it soon.
Yeah, we've got a plan for the cabin that we're going to build, so I already have kind of a materials list going, and I need to get started on it like last week in order to get it done in time.
You gotta go out. Let's go.
I do not have a sawmill, and nor do I have an Alaskan sawmill either. It's like, nope. I have a Home Depot buggy runner.
Right.
Jeez.
Oh,
Yep.
hey, Adam.
Oh, look what I did.
And Neil Blonder says, hi, I'm a new follower. Well, thank you for following. Hopefully you have had a chance to visit all of the channel. It says, happy Thanksgiving. And do you have children? Do they visit? How often do you socialize?
Oh,
Friends and family in person.
Well, Alone Froze. We have one
Yeah.
son, and he's actually been up here for the last year, and he's heading back. Oh, Alone is back.
Yay.
Sorry. Other than that, we have had friends come up here several times to visit. which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be a little taken aback, I think, when we move to the all the way off grid property. But yeah,
And then I have gone back to visit friends and family since we've moved up.
I haven't.
And I've got a son, and Sarah's got a daughter. I've only been back south once, and that was after a hurricane to help my mom.
And I haven't been back at all.
And
And
have your children been up to visit?
not at all.
Nope.
No.
So I've got three
Not a-
children, two of which have been up here to visit. The third one, I'm not sure if he ever will. He does not like the cold. He's not much for sitting on planes for long periods of time either. So, though I would love to see him. And I have not been back to the lower 48 where the rest of my family lives. None of my children live here. And so I don't get out and socialize a whole lot. I pretty much just stay to myself and try to stay busy here, or like I said, just take it easy. So not a whole lot going on here.
In summer, we do a lot more socializing because we have to that's when we go to town. And we have friends in Talkeetna, and we socialize with Adam and Phyllis, and a little bit even with Alone, although she lives far away. And
I try. There's definitely plans to make it happen next year. I mean, the last 2 years I've said the same thing and it didn't happen, but hell or high water, I'm going to make it happen this year.
yes,
Yes,
we have
Yes.
plans.
that's right. So I
But
also want to say thanks to John Feeney. Sorry to interrupt, Sarah. Thanks to John Feeney, who gave a super chat here of $19.99 and says, "Keep up the great work and happy Thanksgiving." Well, thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to you and to everybody else out there. Thank you guys for all the questions. Also,
Heck yeah.
Ed's being very supportive.
Hmm.
Ed's being very
Ed-
Yeah, right under the super chat. And he said, "At least she never has a funny face when it freezes."
I have no idea. It's probably the worst. Oh, goodness. Mike Klein says, "Do you like the Hudson?" I don't know what that is.
I don't
Sawmill.
get it. Oh,
That's for you, Rob.
Yes, I do like the Hudson. They're inexpensive and they work just as good as some of the bigger ones, just not with all the fancy bits and pieces to make them move. It's all manual push. You got to shove it yourself. But other than that, no, it's a great saw.
good. You have.
Sorry, I was the swoop.
So
And-
CMK is asking, would you recommend a good body shop in the Wasilla area? There is one. I can't think of the name right offhand, but we just talked to him this week, asking him how long it would take him to, because I'm repairing a Chrysler Pacifica that had a run in with a dump truck, and the Pacifica lost, if you were wondering. Anyway, they said if we got it there tomorrow, they could get to it middle of January. So
Oh,
yeah, I
Nice.
don't know. Sounds like I should start a body shop. What?
Right?
Onstead, and I need to answer Ed.
Oh, here.
Oh, dear.
So almost had a
So
You trying to do
Sea
it
Life has a question about, do you eat caribou? It says, "I love reindeer meat, similar to caribou."
It is
Yeah.
caribou.
Is
Yeah,
caribou.
it's one and the
Yeah,
same.
they're the same thing.
Just one's domesticated. That's the only difference.
Yep.
We eat
And-
it when we can get it.
Yeah.
I like
And
it.
I went caribou hunting this year. Unfortunately, I missed more than once.
So did
But-
I.
And so did Phyllis, and so did Ricky. However, I will say that I like caribou significantly better than moose.
Mhm.
And next year I'll redeem myself. That's my
Yay.
promise. But yeah, caribou is delicious.
We'll see.
We will.
I love caribou. I eat reindeer probably, I would say at least twice, if not 3 times a week. It's
Oh, my.
reindeer sausage, but absolutely love reindeer. And I love moose meat. They're awesome. Nothing like
Venison.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Woo.
Where alone do you get your reindeer
Yeah.
sausage?
Reindeer sausage. Yeah.
Give her a
She
minute.
can't answer. She's frozen.
She frozen.
And I know she keeps the temp low in her house. Maybe that's the issue.
Honestly, any of our friends from Wisconsin want to ship us some venison. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
I miss the venison.
Well, there's also options to book a hunt on Lake Island. No, we
Is-
don't.
Blacktail and whitetail going to be the same?
Probably not exactly, because I'm sure the blacktail aren't eating corns and soybean. But
Ooh.
Drop.
Uh-oh.
She'll be back.
Yep. So yeah, for a venison option, we do have there are deer on the islands, on Hitchinbrook and Kodiak, and probably some others. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of the islands also has elk on it as well.
Mm.
Ed is saying Sitka blacktail. I want to try it. See if it's
Cool.
Yeah.
See if it's like the Wisconsin venison.
Well,
Yeah.
Alone had highlighted this comment, so I'll go ahead and read it while she's getting back to us. Kim I did a super chat of $10, beer or cider on me, or tequila here in New Mexico. Be well. Thank you for that, Kim.
Well, we
Yes.
might have to go get some tequila in New Mexico.
That doesn't sound like a terrible idea.
Mhm.
Yep. And let's see. Northern Girl Hobbies says, I'm heading out, folks. Been a long few days. I think the only way we can ship venison over the border is if it's in jerky form.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's-
Yeah.
And Ed is reminding me, Hitchinbrook, just don't take an 18-foot boat there. I had asked him that on a live, and he informed me that I will promptly die if I try to take an 18-foot boat there.
Yeah. She said she lost her internet connection. She's going to try to get back.
Good.
Okay. Okay.
So it's on us for a few minutes.
Ah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Sea Life asks, does elk differ from moose?
Yes.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Elk is different than moose. Moose is a kind of on the lines of venison. It's very, it's a lean meat, no fat in it at all. But elk, I would say, kind of really tastes like a really good beef to me, where moose never quite tastes like that. And the worst meat I've eaten here is muskox. And I've
That was like super chewy. It took more calories to eat it than it did. When it gave.
And I gave you.
yeah. I think if I got a muskox here, I'd grind the whole thing,
Yeah,
because we were
Yeah.
eating tenderloin and it was tough.
it was.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
I have to agree with Michael's Self-Preservation Awakening. Yeah. Bear meat and moose meat is very delicious.
Mhm.
Caribou
Yes.
too.
Yeah, and I will say, now I had bear for the first time this year up at Rob's, and it was
Mhm.
black bear, and
Mhm.
I got to admit, it was delicious. It was actually a little bit sweet.
It
Yeah.
was.
It was
was-
very tender. It's way more tender than I expected it to be.
Hmm.
But don't eat it after they've had fish. If the
Yeah.
bears have eaten fish, don't even think about eating it.
Right.
You hear horror stories about how awful it tastes. But when they're eating berries, yum.
Oh, yeah.
Dixie asks, how long do you have to live there to get a check from the state? It is, you have to be a resident for
For
1 year.
Full year.
1 full year, and then you get approved when you come in. You have to go through a lot of hurdles to get everything. Not
Mhm.
really bad hurdles, but you got to
No, but-
go in with paperwork and stuff like that to show that you actually are a resident.
Mhm.
And that you didn't leave for more than
I don't know.
so many weeks.
Right.
There are
Yeah.
stipulations.
Right.
And you also have to be careful because around the dividend time, signs start popping up alongside the road that say PFD thief,
Yeah.
because people own property, they claim residency, but they don't actually live here, but somehow they've gotten through the system.
Yep.
So don't try and cheat it.
No, they will catch you.
Mhm.
And you will go to jail for that. They do not mess around with the PFD. And the PFD, I mean, everybody says, "Oh my gosh, Alaska pays you to live there." $1,750 is not a life-changing experience.
No.
Not in Alaska. I know alone, for instance, she pays almost $700 a month to heat her property.
Hey, there
She is. Yeah.
Sorry, the internet completely cut out. Sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
we're glad
look,
you're back.
do we have to restart the whole live now, or
We do from the very beginning.
well, that's fine because it's going to take that long for that prime rib to get done.
So what were we talking about? I heard you say something about my heating bill.
Oh, that was just we were talking about the PFD,
Oh yeah.
and somebody had asked, how long do you have to live here to get the PFD?
One full.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
full calendar year from January 1st to December 31st.
Okay.
And then there's other qualifications that you have to have too.
Right.
Yeah. But
And
it's
the-
nice.
And no 1968 Alaska sourdough. I will not be trying brown bear. Thank you for that.
Right.
It depends on where you get them. I hear if you get the browns away from where they're going to have the fish and stuff, and if they're not into too much of the carry-on, that it's not that bad. Like I got a friend that his family's from Estonia, and they go over there. He can go over there and actually buy canned brown bear meat.
Oh my. Wow. Yes. Yeah, we kind of answered this one. Elk is definitely different than moose. It's a little fattier than moose, and honestly, I like it a little better. I'm not saying I don't like moose. Don't get me wrong. If you actually manage to harvest one, you've got 1,200 pounds of it. So, yeah. Who's asking?
CK.
Okay. Northern Girl Hobby says moose is my fave, but I've never tried elk. Jerky swap, perhaps. I probably won't be hunting elk here. The only place that they are, somebody had commented on here, it's Afognak Island, and it is a brutal hunt. You walk in, they drop you off on shore, and to get to where the elk are, you've got quite the bluff to travel up. And if you're lucky to get one, then you have to carry them all the way down. Oh, nice. Okay.
So self-esteem is asking about practice of washing dishes, I think here. She says, as for alone, realizing her limited fresh water sources, myself being an OCD obsessively at any hand washing, I've adapted to a 3-bowl hand washing system. Have any of you ever tried anything like this?
No, I have not.
So I'm not sure if she's talking about, well, hand washing. I'm assuming she's talking about laundry. And Adam and Phyllis, I know you guys have your little washing machine that you use.
Well, I take mine into the thrift store because there's a washer and dryer there.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, our little washing machine for emergency purposes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a washing machine and it's small and it works fine.
But Sarah, you and Phyllis were talking about using a system where it
Yeah.
dumps the original wash water into a wash basin, and then you can reuse it a second time.
We did, and I did that, and it worked. I did notice that the wash water from this particular machine is it's fairly dirty, and the rinse water, although there's a lot less of it, is pretty darn clean. So the next time I saved the rinse water instead of the wash water.
Okay.
Quite
Yeah.
as economical on my water situation, but we don't have a serious problem with water anyway, because
Mhm.
we have the cisterns in the under the house.
Right.
But it has been, that's going to work for me.
Okay.
And the clothes seem to be just fine. And I'm putting fewer clothes in now because I'm not so concerned about the water. And it gives me cleaner clothes. It's more economical for the water situation. And I'm going to continue with that. And thank you for letting me know about it.
Oh, not a problem. It was just
Very well for us.
do the same thing, probably.
Yeah. Hmm. Absolutely.
I reuse my rinse water when I'm doing both dishes and my laundry. So laundry, I use the rinse water to start the next load of washing.
Yes.
And same thing when I'm doing my dishes. Unless my rinse water for whatever reason just doesn't look good, like sometimes I have too much detergent or whatever going on, I'll reuse that for starting the next load of washing dishes as well. So, but the three bowl thing actually makes sense because I rinse my laundry twice. So the first rinse to get the detergent out, and the second rinse has vinegar in it, which clears everything out. It makes it softer.
You do yours by hand.
Mm-hmm. Except for things that are too bulky to put through the ringer. So like a comforter, I'll take that down to like Valdez or wherever. If I'm heading into the Matsu Valley, I might take it with me there. But even denim and, I have some big flannel shirts, I'll hand wash all of that. And then I just hang everything up to dry in the pantry.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like Lee in Maine has a question down at the bottom too.
Lee says, this question may have been asked. Have you seen any more orbs? And have you figured out what they are? It's dust. It's ash and dust in my house. That's what I see. But orbs out on the property? No, I haven't. Not this year. I haven't seen any yet. But I've been so busy that I haven't even been outside, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. There was another question here too. Sandollar says, what is everyone's animated holiday movie or show from childhood?
That one's
Oh
you, honey.
no, they're asking animated. So
Yeah.
I'd have to say Rudolph was my favorite.
The claymation.
Yeah, the claymation one of Rudolph. That was hands down my favorite. I still would watch it.
I'm trying to think. Was there any other holiday?
Maybe not.
Well, there was Frosty and the Heat Miser.
Yeah.
There's that one.
My favorite movie though is definitely The Family Vacation, Christmas Vacation
Oh,
with Chevy Chase.
yeah.
That one or the Christmas Story.
Oh yeah, kids, you'll put your eye out with that thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Phyllis brings up a good point. Die Hard. That I think that's an official Christmas movie, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it is definitely.
I don't think animation was invented when I was a child.
I saw a Christmas ornament the other day that someone had made by hand, and it took me a minute to realize what I was seeing. But it was a scene from Die Hard, and I was like, "That's hilarious! That's their Christmas ornament."
I love it. Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a fun question.
Definitely. No, we do not.
There are
No mule deer in Alaska.
Nope, no mule deer or whitetail or rattlesnake.
Rattlesnakes. No rattlesnakes.
No snakes at all.
No snakes at all.
No.
No snakes.
Which is fine with
And
me.
no venomous spiders or anything like that. The only venomous creature we have is the shrew, which is a little tiny rodent about the size of your thumb. And I don't think its venom is enough to hurt you. Its bite probably would hurt more than the poison.
They are little.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Northern Girl Hobbies is asking if I've used a pendulum. I I have, but not since I was a teenager. And that was, someone else's gig, not mine. Let's see here. So Mike Klein is asking about my $750 per month heating bill. Yes, that is if I burn a full cord of wood in a month, and I use I don't know, $350 worth of heating oil, then yes, that would be what my average monthly utility bill would be in the wintertime, not including electricity. But the last 2 winters, this winter and the previous one, I'm being really conservative on the amount of wood that I'm burning. So it was probably a month ago that I stocked the wood bin in the cabin, and that holds about 1/3 of a cord. And I have burnt through maybe only half of that in a month. And that's with our temperatures being in the negatives almost every single day. So this winter and last winter are a lot less expensive because I've been really conservative, but it also means I'm burning more heating oil in place of.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and that was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, by the way.
Oh,
Yep.
Like the best movie ever. Okay, so this one, I was going to read it,
sorry.
but
it was a comment to me about from Northern Girl Hobby saying that she's never used a pendulum, but she has an affinity to crystals. So
okay.
what did I miss? What's a pendulum for?
I'm not sure.
That's a timer.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Oh, okay. Music.
well, the pendulum is like you hang what do you call it? Like you would have a charm or something hanging from the end of a string or a chain, and then you have something underneath it, right? That either says you have like answers to some questions, yes, no, east, west, north, south, something like that. And then you let it swing on its own vibration, and it'll lead you to the question or the direction in which you need to go.
Or an item. It's like if you have a little map of a room, you can find an item in the room, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like divining rods, which I have here for doing water and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And people have asked me if I've used divining rods here, and I have not. But my dad used to use divining rods. He actually worked in a field where they needed to locate things underground, and he would use divining rods to do that. So I'm familiar with them, but here there's no need for me to use them because there's no water underneath where I'm at. So.
I will be using them on our new property.
Oh, definitely. I'll
Yep.
make you a couple. Steve Light is asking, how about mosquitoes? I'm not sure what the question is about mosquitoes other than we have all of them. Also, none of our mosquitoes carry diseases. West Nile virus, anything like that. The spring mosquitoes, I don't know why. Maybe it's me, but the spring mosquitoes are by far the worst. This last year, we were cutting firewood. There were still 2 feet of snow on the ground, and they bit the daylight out of my neck, and I swelled up like I had a bad case of hives.
Yeah.
And the mosquitoes in the spring are like the size of a hummingbird, so you'd think I would notice them biting me, but I didn't.
Yeah, when I was outside, let's see. Yeah, at the end of October, there were still mosquitoes out, and I got bit on my ear, and it was the same way where it just swelled like crazy.
Yep, they were awful. Oh, yes, we have.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
This alone did not join us, so that was a sadness.
That was the weird one too, alone, because we had some awesome success out there. And I took some pictures, sending it to you, just kind of picking on you because you weren't there. And you got them like 5 months later.
Yeah. Yeah. That just goes to show how bad my cell service is out here, is that things do not show up when they're supposed to. Half the time, like Phyllis has called me twice where the phone has never rang.
Wow.
and I only see it later, and it's like, what the heck? I was sitting right by the phone,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just hit and miss here. But yeah, if you want to see some dip netting, you want dip netting experience, Alaska Cut the Cord is the channel to watch right there.
Yeah, that was fun. This last year, we were all going to go, and Alone couldn't make it, but Rob and Sarah did, and they got to have the experience. So
It
what
was
did you
amazing.
think of that?
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Ton of fun.
Like I said, I think next time let's do it even more relaxed.
Mhm.
As long as the weather is good, like it was this last year, let's just hang out on the beach and
Yep.
Hmm.
Bring our fishing poles.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not bringing the boat this year.
No.
No.
Mm-mm. It's so easy for sure.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Really?
I just see Jackie here asking, do you find that a dog is a must-have for security or early warning system? Well, I personally wouldn't say that it's a must-have, but boy, is it helpful.
Yes.
Mhm.
If Ruger
Yes.
steps out on the front porch and there's a moose in the yard, he won't leave the porch. And he's
Right.
a big German Shepherd.
And he'll just freeze and look. And so then I know to just freeze and look and see what's going on before I take another step.
Yep. Zeus seems to be a little bit oblivious. He ran right out in front of one the first year we were in this cabin.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was first year because that was my
In-
first
in
year
the-
hunting.
Yeah. And he
Went right by and went to
Went
my
right
sawmill.
by.
He's doing his business, and then he gets done doing his business, looks up, and there's this moose sitting there. Mind
ran
you,
back in
this
the
is
house.
2 nights or 2 days before moose
Before
season
moose
opened
season.
up.
so,
Of course.
but Mishka, the puppy, will come to a screeching halt before she goes off that little tiny back porch if there's something that smells funny at all. And then she'll sniff all over, and then either go on out or come back in the house. And I don't know what it is that she's smelling, but she's very alert. So she's a good warning system.
Yeah. Kenai's not a good warning system for, well, if there's a moose around, because he'll just charge right after it and
Oh, yeah.
the rest is history.
Mhm.
He does not freeze at all, but
Yep.
he will go, like he'll be outside and he'll be just absolutely still staring off into the woods,
Mhm.
but you don't know what he's staring at. There's no noise, there's no smell, there's no sound, there's nothing there. And you're like, okay, I don't know what you see, but come inside.
Right.
But if
Yep.
he hears a vehicle come down the driveway, or if someone were to walk onto the property, he goes bonkers, absolutely bonkers. So yeah, I think it's a great security system, but it's all upon what your level of comfort is too.
And the
Right.
dog.
Yeah, and the dog.
They're good company anyway.
Yeah.
Not to change the subject or anything here, but
Mhm.
before we accidentally leave, and it's on my mind and I'm having a squirrel moment.
It happens.
Does anybody want to do a Christmas Eve live or
Yes.
Christmas Day? What are your thoughts? And what are your thoughts out there, viewers?
Yeah, let us know if you'd like to see a Christmas Eve live.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in.
Willing to do it if everyone is interested.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
give us
know.
all thumbs up if you want a Christmas Eve live.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some on my channel pop up saying yes, yes, yes.
That's
Oh my
great.
God, yes. Definitely. We will do one again.
Great.
We
Good.
last year we did it on Christmas Day, but some people have plans this year, so we had a talk prior that we will do it on Christmas Eve. We just got to figure out a time. We don't want to do it too late in the day because a lot of you guys are on the East Coast, and we don't want you up too late. You won't get your presents.
We'll have to get there.
Sorry about the ding-a-ling-a-ling you hear. We have a new security system that we're testing out. That's a camera-based system, and it sends me alarms. Zeus is outside, so it sends alarms every time he runs by it.
If yours is like mine, it'll be going off constantly. And
Yes.
and even when I have the sensitivities turned all the way down, I'm constantly getting alerts, constantly like vehicle detected, vehicle. I'm like, yeah, that vehicle's been parked in the same spot for 2 months. It hasn't moved.
Oh, Ira's in here. Ira, how are you doing? How is mom?
nice.
Says,
Ira?
please, yes, yes, yes. And this year's Hanukkah, same day as Christmas. Very good.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Yeah.
Alone, what's your thoughts?
About Christmas Eve live.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
All for it. You guys just let me know what time and I'll be there.
Okay.
All right, so I think we all need to put a poll out on our channels to see what time's going to work best for everybody
For
Christmas Eve.
everybody.
Yeah.
Keep an
Perfect.
eye out for a poll, guys.
Yep.
And as for that question on there from Cripple Creek, we have multiple types of channels for online streaming, but I also came here with about 500-600 DVDs because I used to do a bartering system up here.
Mm.
We
I
tend
don't
to,
I don't know if there's only digital up here. So analog rabbit ear TV went offline a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And I don't know if there's any local channels here on this side. As far as radio goes, there's only 2 channels, NPR and a religious station. That's all I get on this in this part of Alaska.
Yeah, and that was a question earlier. Somebody asked about radio. We have KTNA in this area, which is based out of Talkeetna, and they still do like the Denali Echoes. Where I was talking with somebody else today, and they were on the Squinton, I believe, and they get the Pipeline was one that they used to get on a different channel.
that changes things, Rob. If I can't get K-Whale, I don't know if I'm going to come up there now.
There's
It's
the look. You deserve that look.
I'll get in my truck after Adam's been driving it and the radio's blaring. I'm like, oh, turn it off.
But it's K-Whale.
It is KWOW. There's a lot of channels in our area.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And as far as TV goes for us, we like to watch like series. So like Dexter. Now we're watching. I bought the whole House box set because I know we saw a lot of them, but we missed a lot. And I absolutely love watching House or Game of Thrones or
Mhm.
whatever.
The next one will be Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the ones,
Yellowstone.
the ones before that.
But
Yeah,
otherwise, we watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
Outlander right now. We're
Outlander
catching
right
back up
now.
on Outlander because the new season's coming out.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's right. There is a new season coming out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they've only got 1 episode released, so we're catching up on season 7.
Okay.
Okay. Ira Handworker asks, are you able to get deliveries from Amazon warehouses in the lower 48?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
we are.
Partly.
Depends upon
It's
what you
certain-
want.
Yeah, you're not getting anything with a lithium battery in it. And
No.
as far as getting Amazon Prime so you get it next day, that doesn't happen.
Nope.
That's impossible. Never
But they
order anything next day air, huh?
They are getting faster with the deliveries from
They
Amazon.
have, because now Amazon has a warehouse in Anchorage.
Yes.
Yeah, because Adam, I ordered one of those Halsell Farmer chainsaws, and it got here in 4 days.
Mhm.
And
That's
that came from the Midwest. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't get my bar, so I can't use it.
No, and I'm going to be ordering one of those. So I'm kind of excited to try that out.
Mm-hmm. Me too. And I've already got it.
J. Allen Noel asks, is hunting season overcrowded with hunters as it is in the lower 48? Well,
Depends what you got.
Right.
I would say if you can get there by 4-wheeler, it's going to be overcrowded. If you can get there by air, not at all. It pays to fly in. Otherwise, yeah, it'll get just as overcrowded because there's not a lot of access up here. There's like 3 roads. So if it's within that road system, there will be people on it. So a lot of people will, like me, I can take my boat up the river, or you fly in if you want to not deal with the overcrowding issue.
Yeah. And it also depends upon if you're hunting on state or federal land.
Right. True.
So we got a little bit of a troublemaker on there. Arlen says yes to Christmas Eve only if y'all are singing Christmas carols.
Oh dear.
You do not want to hear this girl sing.
No. I'll
No.
do it, but the volume will be off, Arlen.
Right.
Yeah. I will be on mute.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh,
Oh,
cute.
goodness. Titus and Jackie ask, I noticed Ed has some great game cameras. What do you all use? And can you see what's going on live so you don't have to go out? Mine are not live. I'm hoping to get some additional ones that are that way that'll feed back to my phone. And I don't even know. I don't remember the brand that I have because they were sent to me. I didn't purchase them.
Yeah, and we have a lot of game cameras out on our trail system. However, because we do not have cell phone signal up here, if we had the cell phone style, they would not make it to the house. That's why I have the security cameras on the house.
Mhm.
And we do catch stuff on that. Like recently we had the moose run through the yard.
Checking the turkey timer.
Like to go through the compound.
But unfortunately it didn't get the wolves that ran through the yard, which I didn't understand that one.
Yeah.
And we don't
You
have
two
it.
need to share your little inside secret going on there.
No, no, we do not.
Put them in a timeout.
I just love how red her face is. Her face is as red as her jacket. And that was before I even called her out on it. Also, I heard something. I'm maybe I shouldn't repeat what I heard.
Yeah, let's not. So much right now.
You guys are too cute. Marquette Haynes says, I just made it a line. Do you all live near each other? I'm a huge Alone fan. Well, thank you for that. And no, we do not live near each other. In fact, I live closer to the Canadian side of Alaska, and they live closer to Talkeetna. How far is it between where you guys are currently?
For us to get to Rob's or the new property, it's a 1 hour drive and then a 13-mile train ride.
Right.
So in the train, well, it depends on the time of year. If it's during the summer, it could take 45 minutes. If it's during the winter when there's not a lot of people on the train, it might only take like 10 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Adam was in shock on their last trip up here. The train was on time and he was about to faint.
Yeah.
I couldn't
That's
believe it.
because I was there.
Yeah.
One of their trips, they come up in February of this past winter
Last year. Oh my
with
gosh.
Matt AK, who I haven't seen in the chat tonight,
Mm.
and their son Sid. The train was 2 hours late and it was 36 below down
It
at the
was.
drive site.
Oh.
That was brutal.
That was character making that day.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. It definitely tested your metal or your clothes anyway.
Right.
Boy, she had on that beautiful fur coat though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
was
was gonna say.
That was the only thing that saved my life, I think. That fur coat was
that and your hat was good too.
Well, Adam
But
took
Adam
some
he
took-
was wearing it.
Yeah.
I took it. Lord Metal's asking, do you have or use ham radios for comms? We do not.
and
We don't-
I'm studying for my license now.
Alone?
No, I don't currently, though there is some talk amongst some of my friends here in the area about getting some ham radios or some long range radios for communications in an emergency situation.
Mm.
So, but currently, no, I don't know who I would talk to anyhow. Someone out there in the great beyond, I guess.
Yeah, we do carry radios on us that are capable of ham capability. They have ham capabilities, but we do not have them set up that way. We have them set up to be used on marine channels, so Sarah and I can communicate back and forth. But we can also listen to the train and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. So I got a question from William Austin Kidd, who's asking where Kenai is at. He is asleep on the floor at my feet, as usual. He does not like it when I'm talking to the camera. He's like, oh, no, But Rob and Sarah and Adam and Phyllis can probably attest to this, that as soon as the live stream is over and he realizes it's over, he'll climb up in my lap and will be right here talking to them in the green room behind scenes. So
Nice.
This is for Ashley. Yep. I wore them today.
If you're not familiar, in our live streams,
Let's see.
Phyllis always has earrings on, and most people refer to them as her fishing lures. And
Yep.
these actually came from Ashley Anderson. He made them.
Yes.
Oh,
Cotton
that's beautiful.
and whitetail hair,
Beautiful.
and I do love them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashley.
Mhm. Mary Long is asking, do you carry bear spray when you go out and about? No, I don't.
Well,
Let's
it's
see.
in a metal form instead of pepper.
Yeah.
yeah.
We carry firearms.
Yes.
I used
Yeah,
to
no.
carry bear spray and the firearm because when I first got here, my family was ultra paranoid about my safety. But in reality, you're not going to get both off. And you're better off to take a shot at it with your firearm than you are to do the bear spray and have the bear spray come back at you, even though they say that won't happen. It can.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
seen bears still charge even after getting shot with bear spray. Sometimes
no.
even after getting shot with firearm, but still.
That's just seasoning for bears is all that is. I mean,
Yeah.
in all honesty, if you're going to carry something that's a spray, carry wasp spray because it has a 20-foot spray. With bear spray, it puts out a mist. And guess what? That mist is like 5 feet in front of you. If there's any wind coming back at you, it's
It's
now in
gonna
your
hit you.
eyes, and you've just made yourself tasty for the bear. You know, you just season yourself. Get some wasp spray. Carry the wasp spray. 20 to 40 feet. Fly.
Mhm.
You
And
know,
I
then-
I tell people that come into the thrift store asking.
Hi guys.
I'll take care of them.
Even Michael Self-Preservation Awakening says wasp spray is more effective.
Okay.
So Marquette also says, I lived all over Alaska for 8 years, mostly in Wasilla, Anchorage, and Homer. I like that Alone wears a gun on her hip for safety. Do you others do the same? So when you go out, do you have a gun on?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Don't leave home without one. Here you can't. Where we're at, you can't.
Mm-mm.
Just like, and all three of us. Well, Adam and Phyllis don't have to worry about it so much at their house, but out here, you have to have
You
something on you at all times because you don't know what's lurking behind the bush. And if you guys have seen any of our videos in the summertime, our ferns can get 8 feet tall here.
They're tall.
They are freaking huge. And you don't know what's on the other side of it. And there's been times where I've seen a bear on our tanks down here that we had down here. It got down off and disappeared.
Mhm.
I followed the ferns parting like this all the way to the other side of the cabin, and the bear stood up 15 feet from me. So you have to have something on you at all times. I don't care what it is, whether it be the wasp spray or a gun. It just better be a gun because you're going to have a problem if you don't.
And Sea Life wants to know, do you shop online or rather go to the stores?
Both.
Depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you need to have hands on, so you really believe that it is what it is, I go to the stores. But online's pretty huge here because there's a lot of stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
So unless, of course, it has a lithium battery.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like if we order something on Amazon up here, any one of us, we have to look to make sure it ships to Alaska because
Yes,
so
you
much
have to
does
make sure.
not ship to Alaska.
Yeah. Lithium batteries, some solvents, furniture, large items, things like that. They just don't ship.
No.
Yep.
We read this one, I think.
Oh.
No. Fleas, yeah.
There are some fleas, just not a lot.
Some
Not a lot.
fleas,
And-
but a lot of times they're brought in from people bringing their critters from down south.
Mhm.
But yeah, since our dogs have been here, don't have to worry about tea and flick medication.
Tea and flick.
Wow.
Wow, please.
That is very cute.
I screwed that one up. Thank you. I'll give you some
What
tea.
What are you drinking?
Right now, I went right. It's 7-Up right now. So
That's the problem. Adam,
That's the
make the girl a
problem.
drink.
yeah, he doesn't know how.
No. I don't know. I
If it
don't.
doesn't-
Yeah.
I'm not drinking that stuff.
No.
There are ticks here, though. There are ticks that carry a disease. I always forget what it's called. It's like tuberculose or something like that. That affects rabbits. And
Oh yeah.
then when your dog bites the rabbit, the dog gets sick, and then you touch the saliva, pulling the rabbit out of the dog's mouth, and you get sick. It causes like flu-like symptoms that can cause death. But they've only been found in a couple areas of Alaska, mainly up by Fairbanks.
That
So-
figures.
There's a lot of rabbits up by Fairbanks, though. Like they have a huge rabbit problem up there because people get them as pets and then set them free. So there's not only the snowshoe hares up there, but there's domesticated rabbits that have just become
think it's-
wild.
I
They
think
can
it's
send
called, it's called tularemia.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
How do you know this?
I remember that from the last time we had this conversation, and Ed
It
countered
comes
that.
up. Yeah. Let's see here. Here's another question.
We do occasionally.
Not
No.
much. I
No.
guess if you lived in Big Lake or Wasilla or Anchorage, you would hear it, but not out here. Not
No.
since the truck broke down.
Yeah, if we hear them, there's a problem if we hear them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Same here. I don't hear anything. Once in a while I'll hear a car go down the road, but it's just the tires that you hear. Like I don't hear anything. So it's pretty quiet. Bluebird is asking about trichinosis. Only in bears.
Yep, that's why you got to cook it thoroughly.
Mhm.
Don't eat too much because we're gonna have supper.
Yeah.
And self-esteem is asking, says, I know it hasn't happened to Lone as far as living remotely. Has anyone ever had human intruders while they were away from the home?
No, we used to have a lot of people come into the yard, and then we got German Shepherds, and now nobody comes even close to the yard.
And I have a security camera up. If it senses movement, it starts spieling off a whole bunch of information, basically telling you you've been seen, information's been sent. Don't try to find the cameras because you're not gonna. And to call me, or I'm calling the cops, or
Right.
Well,
But nobody has,
no, we don't get nobody up here.
nobody.
No.
Bears.
John
No.
Logan's asking if we have police protection.
Nope.
not.
Not even really here, and we're not far from town.
Yeah, they could get here. They could drive here to where we live. Will they? Probably not.
No.
They've got bigger fish to fry. There's police are few and far between up here.
Yeah,
No.
then between what is it? Between Wasilla and the parks, there's only 4 state troopers that patrol at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you almost never get it, and even as far as Talkeetna.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this area, about that same, actually, it's larger. I don't know how large an area the size of West Virginia. There's 3 state patrol officers, and I believe 2 of them. Well, there's 3 state patrol officers and 2 wildlife officers, and they are on rotating shifts for the entire area that's about the size of West Virginia.
Yeah.
So, but
Okay.
what we have here is bush patrol. In other words, you and your neighbors or other people in the community are going to take care of the problem. And then they'll report back to the police after that.
Yeah. Otherwise known as bush justice.
Yes.
There you go. Yep.
And there's not a lot of problems.
No, there's not a huge
Really?
crime problem unless you're in the cities.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sea Life is asking, does everyone have rights to fish for king salmon? If so, I'm so jelly.
No,
No.
no.
No. But the bigger problem with the king salmon is that, yes, any of us residents can fish them. However, they changed the rules. They're like on a timer, and they changed the rules. Like right when the season opens, there's places you can go to catch them, and then like on the Copper River, for a while you'll be allowed to catch one in your net. Anything else has to be released, and then when they see the numbers, then they shut that off too.
Yep.
So, not much for king salmon fishing up here.
Here with fishing, just like anything else, but mostly fishing, you have to check the regulations daily
Mm.
because it can change hour to hour if you're not careful. You have to pay attention to it, and because if they catch you doing something you're not supposed to, it's not going to be
Okay.
pretty.
Mm-mm.
And it changes from river to river.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Mile to mile.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the regulations are confusing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Colorado is pretty cut and dry. And here you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yep. Joanne Oscarson is asking, are your firearms 10 millimeter or greater? I assume she's talking about the sidearms. How about you, Alone?
Yes. Well, except for one gun that I have, everything is 10 mil or greater. Yep. Well, no,
Yep.
that's not true. I have some 22s, but the 22s aren't for protection.
You're not pulling that out on a bear.
No, no. Anything I'm wearing outside though is, well, I have my 357 and then 10 mils.
Yep.
So
And anything we have is Alaska appropriate.
Yeah. And I carry a 10 millimeter in a 1911 style, and Phyllis carries a 45, but that has the max penetrator rounds to make up for the 200 feet per second slower that it is.
And I also have my
357.
yeah.
Yep.
Tea tree essential oils.
Yeah, Ace. I think I replied to that one in my page. But yeah, I actually need to get more tea tree oil and thieves oil. I was getting a good place to get the oils from around here.
Yep.
There's an apothecary in Wasilla. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I think that's one out off the going towards Matsu Valley Meats. There's an herb shop out there.
I think so. I'll have to get the name of it from Charlene.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's funny. I know which one you're talking about. The owners have the same last name as me because I was asked if I was related to the owners last time I was in there.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And funny enough, I used to own a tea herb and spice shop.
Hmm.
No, you guys already knew that.
Yeah.
all right, I'm not seeing any more questions. I think we're all caught up on the questions. So if you have a question that we missed, you might want to pop it in.
Yep, ask away real quick. We got to get out of here because we've been on here almost 3 hours.
Really?
Woo.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
our supper might be almost done.
Oh,
Wow. I think my turkey is done. And
Yeah.
I've had 2 drinks and poor Sarah's had none.
Yeah, I'm out too.
He's getting thirsty.
Well, I'm drinking hot buttered rum, so it's easy for me to make. If you like her,
Oh, those are tasty.
oh yeah.
The hot
I
rum
introduced
is
Phyllis and
nice.
Adam
Yeah,
to that last
it's
time they were up
nice.
here.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever had that. That was quite good.
I do. I'll make it. Yeah. We're done here.
That's a good question. So, well, Alone's the only one that can answer that, really.
Is it true that Bigfoots up there have Canadian accents? He doesn't talk to me. He just shows up in the video. Walks on by, never says anything.
Huh. Yeah,
But
we looking
no,
out for that.
but I keep seeing it like Dewey and everybody snooping around, taking a look at that new bathroom. I'm feeling they're tired of the outhouse, so maybe we'll find out.
I don't know. I think I've done far better than a normal live.
I think so.
No, I don't think he's had maybe one look, maybe.
Maybe.
And I deserve it. So
No.
Get about 5 before the live.
yeah, guaranteed. I've been starting from since I woke up. Janet Parrish, how was everyone's Thanksgiving? Mine was okay. Good to see y'all. Well, welcome, Janet. I don't know. We haven't eaten yet.
Right. It's
Yep.
only 4:44.
Yep. Sarah and I eat late on a regular
Right.
basis, so this is good for us.
Yeah, that's perfect.
No,
Hey,
well,
Wendy.
you can do this, right?
What's that? Sustenance fishing? Yes.
Yep.
Yep. So are you laughing at the fact that I'm tired? Yeah,
Persistence.
but yes, I can. I just need to when I go to get my license, I have to say whether or not I'm going to dip net or I'm going to do a fish well. You can only do one or the other. But yes, and it's 500 for a household.
Oh, wow.
Good
That's-
Lord.
250 for an individual.
Holy cow.
That would
That-
take forever to can up and smoke at them.
Mm.
Yeah. We'd have to have the fish racks outside with a big fire underneath of them to do that.
Right?
Right? And Madhunanda is asking, did you ever use your gun for any critter? Only while hunting. That's the only time I've used my gun on a critter. I haven't had an encounter where well, that's not true. That's not true. Squirrels with the BB gun.
Mm.
Okay.
But other than that, no.
What'd you do, Phyllis?
I'm still having a moment.
I just you going like this, so I'm thinking something's going on over there.
Oh, dear. Somehow there's balloons. I don't know what happened. It's fine. I'm okay.
Hi to see Jackie is saying, do you find it hard to buy firearms or ammo supply low? Seasonally, certain types of ammo will go really low. Like if I buy a firearm, whatever firearm that is, that ammo will be non-existent. As an example, I just bought a 4570 and the only ammo available is 4 boxes of subsonic ammo, which I don't want.
Which, if you find more of that, bring it to me because it fits in my trap door.
Yeah, they got 4 boxes of it at Three Bears on whatever, right in Wasilla there.
Because that'll actually work in my 78 trap doors.
Well, I will get you some next time I go. But what do you have? The gun that you can't get ammo for anywhere?
No, I'm good.
No, the one that you can't, the 338 Win Mag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ammo is like non-existent in Alaska, and that cartridge was actually designed for Alaska. So go figure. But otherwise, not really.
Yeah, primers is the big thing up here. You can't find primers.
Yeah.
Janet is actually going
Oh.
slow, but it actually
is
have it
growing.
serviceable where I can actually use it now.
Mhm.
I have to create a tub to stick my burners in to get all the rust out of the inside. If I shake them and bang them around, a lot of stuff comes up. A lot of the orifices are still plugged up, so I need to get in there and clean them out. I need to find some kind of little stiff tip brush to stick in there or something. But it is coming along.
It's coming
the main
along.
restoration of that stove is going to come next year.
Mhm.
But I just need it running for the summer. Once the summer's over, I will take it into my workshop and really start the restoration where I can pull it apart and fully do it. We do have a place where we can get the parts, just not all the parts.
Self-esteem is asking, when mosquitoes unfortunately bite y'all, is it horrendous or is it like a normal mosquito bite?
For me, it's a normal mosquito bite.
Yeah, it's just the spring ones that bother me. After that, the rest of the year, the teeny tiny ones that you can barely see, they don't bother me at all. But the spring ones are brutal.
We don't get the mosquitoes you guys get.
Yeah, but there's a short season this last fall where
The black flies.
the black flies,
Yeah, they were
they're
hard.
tiny, and my face, I'm covered except where I'm looking out, and my forehead and around my eyes, all swollen. I swelled up really bad, and
She looks like somebody beat her up. If we went into town after she
it
got
would have
bit
been
up,
bad.
they probably would have tried to arrest me. It looked that
Yeah,
bad.
it
Her eyes
was
were
bad.
black and blue, and she was swollen up.
Really.
Hmm.
And they itched and burned. It was bad.
And you have biting flies there?
Yeah. Apparently, I didn't even see them, and I didn't always feel them biting until after the second or third bite, and then poof, it was not good.
Yikes. Because we have cluster flies, but they don't bite. They don't land on your food or anything. They don't want
Yeah.
anything to do with you. They just get in the house. They want out.
Yeah,
They hang out in the windows.
yeah, we used to call those attic flies. I don't know what they're called up here, but yeah, we do have those, and they don't bother anything at all.
Yep.
Who catches you when you're wrong, like fishing or hunting? Oh, the fishing and hunting people are out in space.
I'm pretty sure there's more fish and game
Absolutely.
than there is police force.
And up here, the state patrol is also fish and game.
Yeah.
It's they're two separate, but they also cross over. So if state patrol pulls you over and you've got a 49-inch moose in your truck with 2 brow tines, he's going to get you just as well as fish and game would.
Well,
Sure.
And then the other thing you have to realize too is that there's village safety patrol officers
Mhm.
and also, your local volunteer fire department or whatever, they're going to call you in too, because everybody's on the lookout.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like
But that's the biggest crime.
after our hunting season, and I posted the one video stating that I didn't get a moose. I think it was the one when I went into town after we did our big haul video.
Mhm.
People are saying, "Oh, I would have just shot that moose that ran through the yard."
No.
You don't poach here because we have planes overhead constantly
Right.
in that season. If you get seen with a moose on the ground and then they report it and you haven't reported it, you're going to jail and getting a fine and having your fishing and hunting rights revoked in Alaska for life. I will not play with
Will
that.
not play with that. No.
No, definitely don't. Self-esteem is asking, where can I find the others channels? Well, I think we've got some pretty awesome moderators in here, and they're trying to post as many links to the other channels in here as possible.
So if you see Old School Alaska, look for the links there, and he has gotten just about every channel that's been in the chat, including
Yep.
us
Mhm.
Drop Home and himself, which is
Yep.
good.
And P&J is posting in my chat as well too.
Yep. I'm seeing them. So our moderators are doing fantastic.
Really good job.
Yes, we have a good moderators for all 3 chats, and a lot of us share the same moderators as well because they're all just amazing
Really
people.
good.
Absolutely.
Old school Ed. Wait a minute, where's JR? Is he napping?
He's probably napping.
Mhm.
Probably napping. I've not
Yeah.
heard from him.
All of our moderators are just amazing. They're all good
Oh,
people. And check out their
Yes.
channel as well, please. Definitely.
Yeah. P&J
You know-
is another one who's working overtime out there to get those channel links out there.
Yes.
So
And Paul and Jason are actually, they're on a countdown, aren't they?
yeah, they
Mhm.
are. We are. I'm going to go ahead and say it because they didn't tell me I couldn't. We're better to ask for forgiveness than permission, I guess. But we are going to be meeting P&Js up at Chena Hot Springs next Friday.
Yeah, I wish they had more time where we can get them up here for a Friday or Saturday and Sunday overnighter.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. And it's 20 below, so we're looking forward to it even more.
Mhm. That's gonna be some hair raising experience.
Yeah.
Hey, Old Tavern Farm, good to see you.
Yep. And happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah. Lay, I hope you guys are having a good one.
Yep.
KT, no, I have not had to shoot a bear in self-defense, though I have tracked 2 of them down that were chicken coop raiders.
Yep.
Actually, one of them was a chicken coop raider. It got in and it killed more than half of our hens.
Mhm.
And I tracked her down. And it took me quite a few hours to do it, but I got her tracked down, and I did do a video on that one. And she is in the freezer right now. And that's why when we did our main video, or did the big video for the shopping haul, people like, did he say two bears in the freezer? And yes, there are 2 bear hides in the freezer that I've got to finish processing, and they will be processed by the end of the winter.
And I'm going to have a rug.
But self-defense, no, I've shot at them 99% of the time. If you shoot towards them and you're not between them and the cubs, they will run off.
There we go.
They're not as aggressive as people seem to think they are, unless you're between them and food, and or them and the cubs. If you get between the cubs and them, and or food and them, game on. You better be ready, because they will come after you. But we have not done that yet. We've come close to being between cubs and mom,
Mhm.
but we saw I saw what was happening, and I stopped Sarah in her tracks when we were walking down to the track, or stopped Sarah in her tracks while we were walking to the tracks to go to town. And the mama bear actually left one of the 1.5-year-old cubs up in a tree, and she ran off into the woods after I shot towards her, not at her. And we wound up going past, and that bear was in the tree for about an hour
Mhm.
before it came down and ran off. But she left it there, and we seen her about 3 weeks later with just the 1 cub. So basically, she told that 1 cub, "You're out of here. You're trying to get us killed."
Right.
I think Ed's had some of his whiskey.
Yeah, and Mountain Mariner is living on the edge. He said that he got between a panda and bamboo once. Not good.
And Ed, I saw you comment earlier. I think you're the worst
Oh,
moderator.
dear.
No, you're a good moderator. You provide comic relief, brother.
Oh, cute.
He keeps it up with the dad jokes and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, he
Right.
does.
Elaborate on the age advantage on you on your ticks.
Yeah.
Some.
So what we've been told is once you hit a certain age, I think it's either 62 or 65, either reduce it by half or take it away in certain areas.
Mhm.
I'll be upfront. Our taxes are around $200 a year with the land that we have and all the buildings we have. So if we go down and we approach them and say, "Hey, we want to reduce our taxes because of her age," our taxes would be about $100 a year. But I mean, at $200 a year, we're not going to cry over that. So we just pay the taxes.
And the other advantage is for the truck. The truck is in my name. It's my truck. And
So we
got it registered.
and it's a one-time registration, one-time registration, and we get a
Yep.
P tag on it, so it's a permanent tag, kind of
Permanent
like a
tag.
Z tag for older vehicles. So we register it once, we never have to register it again because of Sarah's age.
Plus, also, if your vehicle is over 8 years of age, same thing. You
Really?
don't ever have to register it again after 8 years. You get
Yep.
permanent plates.
Yep.
Good.
And there's no emissions up here. So you don't have to go do the whole emissions thing like you do in some states down in lower 48.
Definitely.
There was
Scott
another-
Bauman said- John in Alaska said his taxes goes away at 65 completely. Well, then I guess we just apply for it and we'll just pay
We
$100 a
better,
year
yeah.
because both of our name is on our deed.
Right.
So
So
it'll take
Yeah.
away half probably.
Plus,
because-
at that age, also, I think your hunting and fishing is free.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Sarah never has to
Yeah,
pay for that
I
again.
don't
She's
have
got her
to pay.
little laminated card.
Right.
Yep.
She's just got to get her tags,
mhm.
which are free.
So Kim M is asking, how long have each of us lived in Alaska? And we started off this live stream with that exact question. And we have all been here since the summer of 2021. We
Yep.
all came up within about a month of each other, summer of 2021.
Hang on, let's get a camera alert up front.
Mm.
Yeah, it's almost like we planned it, but none of us knew each other when we moved up here.
No,
But
not-
through
no.
YouTube, that's the weird thing. Through YouTube, we've all become, I would say, friends, darn near family.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Right. Price of fuel.
Well,
It's going
if you
down.
if you go to Fisher's Fuel in Big Lake, Alaska right now, it's $2.99
What
a
is
gallon.
That's pretty good.
Otherwise, places are like $3.25.
We just had a wolf in the yard. Sorry.
Right in the yard.
Oh,
I wasn't about to grab the rifle for that because I don't want to hear the bang and I don't want that being on the live.
Mm-mm.
right.
That'd be
My
cool.
security
didn't
alarm
see
just
him.
went off.
I didn't see him. I would have liked to have seen him.
No, well, you're not going to be able to. He's gone now.
He's gone. Just
So-
shoo.
So Ed, they're not up by you. They're back here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any of you ever go mushroom hunting?
Oh,
Yep.
Yes.
That's- I go along for the ride.
I look for chanterelles and I look for king boletes.
Mhm.
Well, I don't look for any of them because I'm pretty sure I would die if I ate one. But on that property that
He's
we're,
not dramatic.
I'm not dramatic. That's not a
No.
dramatization. On that property that we're buying, there was a ammo can up there, and it had some books in it, and one of them was, and these are from 1983, No Alaska's Mushrooms, right
Mhm.
there.
Oh, that's cool.
There you go.
And after 2 out of 3 of the mushrooms in here, it says poisonous and you'll die. So I'm not doing it.
Gonna eat him.
I'm not
Yeah.
even going to try.
I've only harvested hawk's wings mushrooms on my property. That's it. And after the last year that I harvested them, I won't do it again. They're easy to identify, so that wasn't the issue. But they were so bitter, even after soaking and cooking them, that I have no interest in it. It's like I'll stick with store-bought mushrooms.
Yeah, and you have to find the right places to get like the chanterelles. Dave from the Gnome Shed taught me where to look for the chanterelles, and oh my God, like he says, they are mushroom bullion. Just a
Mm.
little bit goes a long way with them, and they are amazing.
They are good.
This was printed and distributed under Acts of Congress May 8th and June 30th of 1914.
1915.
For all you book nerds.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
that I'm a book nerd.
You are. Book nerd.
Yes.
Cripple Creek Farm 1234 is asking, did you all transport your vehicles? We did not drive here. We put 3 vehicles on the ferry and they brought them up here. And then we bought vehicles while we were here, of course, because we only own one of the original 3 that we had. Or no, we don't have 2. We have the RV, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I forgot.
Yeah, we actually took ours too
from
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, he's here.
from
He's here.
Tacoma.
Oh, Matt AK made it. Alone, you drove up, right?
I drove up in the expedition, and then last year I had my pickup truck sent up through Span, Alaska.
Okay.
Yep. So, and that it didn't take, I don't know, it didn't take that long for them to actually ship it up. I think it was a month about from the time they got it to the time it arrived in Anchorage. And it wasn't cheap. I'll say that much. If I had to do it again, I would have bought a plane ticket and driven it up myself.
Yep. We spent $15,800 to get our RV, my Super Duty with a 16-foot enclosed trailer, and Phyllis's F-150 brought up here.
Yeah, we spent around $4,800 for our truck, but our truck has an oversized topper on it, so it made it have to go on a different deck on the ship, so they charge us more money for it.
Yeah.
You know, they asked about the weight, and you know, I hate to say it, but I lied about the weight. I said it was about 600 pounds. So it's probably about 4,000. The truck rode like this from Florida to
Yeah.
Tacoma.
Oh my.
Nice. Janet Parrish says, thumbs up. You 3 are my favorites on YouTube. Thank you, Janet. You're awesome.
But there's 5 of us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow.
That's sorry.
Talking about us girls. Just kidding. Well, we have been on here now for 3 hours. And yeah, I know you guys all have food that you're either preparing or want to prepare. But I think that I'm going to call it because I've got a puppy who's waking up at my feet who needs to go outside.
Mhm.
So, and I need to get back to editing or there's no video tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to Manhattan.
Yep. You know,
Time.
we are always happy to spend time with all of you.
Yes.
Yes.
Why we do it on these holidays, to make sure that none of you are alone and that we're not alone either. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, we have each other,
Each other.
Phyllis and Adam,
Mhm.
Alone has Kenai, but you know, to be alone is not fun at all. You
I
know,
don't know.
so
She doesn't
She
look too
seems to be
bad.
fine.
Seems to be thriving.
well, you know,
Never had any complaints.
but everybody knows what we mean. It's
Yeah.
just, it's not fun to be alone on a holiday and not have family around you. And that's the point of this, is to give everybody a place to hang out and chat. And we will come up with a time for the Christmas Eve live. And we will let you know. We'll poll it. We'll see what you guys all think.
Yes.
And then we'll announce it and see if it's okay with everybody.
Mhm.
But, you know, it's always a pleasure to hang out with these three and
Oh,
all
yeah.
of you. And the moderators we have in these chats
Are
are just
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
I
huge
want to say
shout out.
thank you to all the mods for sure, and all of you for joining us for sure.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for being here. Thank you, mods, for being rock stars like you are every time.
Yes.
Yep.
And yeah, we look forward to seeing you for the Christmas Eve live. And until then, this is Adam
And Phyllis.
from Alaska.
Rob.
There.
Come join us out here. And Rob and Sarah from the Curmudgeon and Alone from Alone in Remote Alaska.
You got this.
Y'all have an amazing night and
They're
happy
all
day.
frozen.
Happy
And they all
Thanksgiving.
froze right there. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
That's you.
Yeah, to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. See you next time.
Happy Thanksgiving.